Okay, this is the July 13th meeting of the Lakeville Parks Commission. It's now 7:19 p.m. I've got to read from the draft for the remote conduct of open meetings. I'm calling the Lakeville Parks Commission meeting to order on Monday, July 13th, 2020 at 7:19 p.m. in accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, subchapter 30A, paragraph 20, relating to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency. The July 13th, 2020 public meeting of the Lakeville Parks Commission shall be physically closed to the public to avoid any group congregation. However, to view this meeting in process, please go to the facebook.com/LakeCAM. You do not need a Facebook account to view the meeting. This meeting will be recorded and available for viewed at a later date at www.lakecam.tv. Confirming members' access as a preliminary matter. This is Scott Holmes, Chairman of the Lakeville Parks Commission. Permit me now to confirm that all members, staff, and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Mike Nolan. Can you hear me?
Unmute. Here.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Leah
Yay.
Fabian?
Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Oh, Paula. All right, great. Jesse Medford.
Here.
Joe Kasha.
Yep.
And Paula, can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome. Great. Great. Glad you could make it. Also, is our clerk Nellie?
Present.
Okay. And joining us tonight, we have Selectwoman Leah Fabian.
Present.
And we have our town manager, Maureen.
Present.
Thank you. Okay, everybody's here. We'll move forward with this lovely letter. Okay, introduction to remote meeting. Good evening. This open meeting of the Lakeville Parks Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency on the Commonwealth of Massachusetts due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public meetings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. Okay. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda material for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonably public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuing public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For the meeting, the Lakeville Parks Commission is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the town's website. For Zoom meetings, please note that the meeting is being recorded and that some attendees participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Meeting materials. All supporting materials that have been provided members of the body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they have concluded their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name has been called. Furthermore, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to talk with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Okay. Be nice if that was the last time I had to read that. All right, turning to the first thing on our agenda is discussion with Leah and Maureen regarding the Loon Pond Lodge management contract. Okay,
So, you want me to
sure. Go ahead, Leah.
talk? Okay. So, I am representing the Board of Selectmen on this. We've talked about this a couple of times. And what the most important thing here is we want to hear from everybody on the Park Commission, whether you feel as though the contract has met all our needs, if things need to be changed. Because I think this contract expires in November, if I'm not mistaken. So we would have to go out for bids. I think Tracy had said by September. Is that correct, Maureen? The latest September or something
Yes,
like
just in case we have to go out twice, we want to do it early. So in case there was, no one or one person, we would go out again if we
Yeah.
ended up going out for bids.
So I just was hoping that we could get everyone together and just hear from everyone. I know the selectmen had a couple of concerns with the contract the way that it is, but just wanting to hear from the actual Park Commission, you folks, on what you think the best things were, what you would like to see changed or not changed. Anything that you feel like, we should change going forward, or if you like it going forward, just so that when we put this all together, we'll all be on the same page. So I'm open to suggestions. I mean, I know for the selectmen, of course, because we're always worried about budgets, there was confusion last time between the 18 and the 20%. So for us, we would really like to see that 20%. That's one of the most important things that, we want to be sure. One of the other things is the tracking of those sales numbers. We'd like to make sure that we put somehow a more consistent tracking, I guess, in there. I think we had all talked about the cleaning company, that the contractor, the present company has, they've hired a cleaning company. So that's another thing that we'd like to see cleaned up in the language of the contract. One of the other most important things for us is that the town clerk have access during elections. Hooray for us thinking about using the old town hall, so that way we don't have to tie up the building, the actual lodge, for early voting, because there's going to be almost, 20 days of early voting come the fall. So if there's anything that anyone, I don't know if you guys just want to start in order or some kind of order on if yay or nay, if you like it the way it is, if you'd like to see a couple of things changed, what you think is strongest, what you think may need some work on it. I don't know if each one of you just, wants to give us your opinion here. Maureen and I are here to listen.
Okay, Maureen, do you have anything to add?
So, no, if you guys want to go page by page, Leah and I had talked about this a bunch of times, and the Board of Selectmen had talked about these things a bunch of times. So I just wanted to go and talk about the specific section numbers when you go through, if that would be agreeable to the board.
Okay. Is that all right with everybody else? Mike? Mike, is that all right with you?
Hang on, I'm on mute. Yeah, I have notes on nearly every page here.
Okay. All right.
Well, we wanted to get into that tonight or to send a report back, but yeah, I can go through page by page if you like.
Well,
Yep.
I think we can just do a quick rundown of page by page, and then I'll collect all your notes from all of you, and I'll incorporate it in one document and give it to the selectmen as they're looking to do their change.
Okay,
That hope is that we can get all your information, compare it to what our high points are too, and then meet again, maybe 2 or 3 weeks or something, depending on everyone's schedule. And that way we can all be on the same page on this. So Mike, I think you should start. I'm gonna go grab something my dog just took.
okay, page 2, section 1.3, town use of property. I think this needs to be clarified. I think the Park Commission has one idea of how much time the town can be using it. As we all know, it's a for-profit building. So I think we need to clarify that section. And then down on Article 2 term, on 2.2 early termination. I don't believe that we reviewed their contract at 12 months and at 24 months. And I think, moving forward, we probably should do that. So that was one thing that was in there that I would leave, but we should probably actually do. Then I also had notes about reporting, Leah, just as you did. I know that they send us a spreadsheet of the different functions, but they could do more detailed reporting. I would agree with that. I know that you folks are looking for that. The custodial services, I also had a question mark on whether we should look around for other custodial services, but I think we did that before, and this company we're using was the only one that actually put in a bid.
So,
Yeah, there
Michael-
were a couple of others that came in and did a trial run with Billy, and he was not satisfied with their work. And then there were a couple of others that said they were going to come and never did.
Mr. Chair,
So just
Mr.
to
Chair, if I
clarify,
can interrupt. In the contract, it says that the town is supposed to have the contract with the cleaning company.
Yep.
And-
Right.
Yeah, and that fell by the wayside for like you said, I know that they weren't happy with who they had, but then it didn't go back to the town for the town to go do procurement on it. And it's not a contract as is, it's just a, cleaning monthly with no contract is what is currently being done. And you guys can have the decision to either have a contract again, or, I think the board, and I haven't talked to them about this, but the board may entertain having custodial staff, either current or additional custodial staff in town hall be a consideration.
okay, well, that's something we need to do, right? Then section 3.3, we need to actually clarify the 20% versus the 18%, as you already mentioned. And also where it talks about performance, we're definitely not going to meet the revenues of $140,000 this fiscal year. So according to this contract, there would be a 20% reduction in the fees that we pay to the management.
And I think the town would be fine to say no to COVID-19. There is not going to hold anyone to some standards that they couldn't possibly meet. But that does bring up the whole, bonus slash penalty structure, which I think hasn't been adhered to and hasn't been budgeted one way or another in the years prior. So maybe we just wipe that out completely and not.
I know that also, a lot of the time, the custodial fee was being included in their reports for the income.
And it shouldn't be, because it needs to
Specifically
be.
says, it says here less custodial fees.
Mike,
Yes,
in their reporting, they did separate that. However, we in accounting do not have a separate revenue for accounting to put that in.
well, I think Scott was trying to work on that, weren't you, Scott?
I have asked for that for 2 years.
Yeah. But I mean,
So they
in order
were reporting.
in order to have an accurate reporting, that has to come out. So, well, just.
Well, then that's exactly why we're here, just to figure out what we need to work on. So we'll
Right.
definitely note that.
Right. Okay, then on the next section, 3.4 says record keeping. Talks about all of these things we're talking about right now. And it says the manager agrees to meet from time to time with the town for purposes of reviewing such records and discussing the management of the property. I think since I've been back on the board, this is my 3rd year, I think we've met with them twice, maybe 3 times. I think, have they come in more often than that?
No,
So that has to be something that is pressed and, to keep the communication open.
Okay, and the town, in your interpretation, means the parks.
Right.
And in my interpretation, I was thinking that it was the town and being like so maybe that language needs to be cleared up where it says meet with, the Parks Commission or, a member of the park. So, yeah.
I think they should be meeting with the Parks Commission at least quarterly, and the town, at least yearly, because it's supposed to be reviewed yearly. So,
Yep.
All right. Let's see. This is just a small thing. I'll just send a note on it. There's on section 5, number 17, says ensure that all vendors have appropriate insurance in place before entering the property and keep proper records thereof. And they also need to have safe serve certification. I don't believe it was mentioned. Serve safe. I'm sorry, not safe serve. I don't believe that's mentioned anywhere else in the contract, and we might want to add that. And in addition to that, I know Mr. LaCamera had mentioned that he wanted them to have query checks. So that is something to be discussed. Okay, and then moving forward to Article 6, 6.1, the town should be responsible for all required capital improvements, maintenance, and repairs to the property. Oh, yeah. So we're responsible for regular maintenance stuff. But further down here, it talks about, in 7.1, it says repair and maintenance. Throughout the term of this contract, the manager at his sole cost and expense shall be responsible for any damage to the property occurring during events, excluding damage caused as a result of town's negligence. Now, we've had several events that there has been damage done to the facility, and the Park Commission has always paid for those repairs out of our budget. So that's something that we need to,
Yeah, and because that's what they signed up for, so
Right.
that's what they should be
Right.
delivering. Like if a door got broken or, a bathroom got broken or something, that should, in the course of an event, that should be under them.
right. Right, we had a major thing with a septic backup one time, and we ended up footing the bill on it.
plus refunding the bride.
Right, exactly. 7.2 says the manager shall keep the walkways of the property in good order and condition. I believe now with our agreement with the highway department, they're going to be doing the the shoveling and snow blowing and stuff. So I don't know if we might want to change the language there.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, that's part of the deal with Frank. Liability insurance 8.1. Maureen, these limits to me look low. 1 million, 3
So-
million.
He actually carries much higher than
Okay.
that currently. Don't have my glasses on, but I know he was carrying 10.
Okay. Well, maybe that sort of language should go into the contract.
I agree with you, Mike. I'd like to see it spelled out
Yeah.
in the contract. It's nice knowing he carries higher, but it should be spelled out in the contract.
Yeah.
Okay, also one of the things that Mr. LaCamera talked about was 8.3. In all of the policies required to be carried hereunder on the commencement date and on each anniversary thereof, or at the town's reasonable request. So that's something that is spelled out in this contract, and I think wasn't happening to his satisfaction. And I think that was one of the things that he spoke to at that meeting with Bill Fuller.
Yeah, the dates for the renewals are different on each policy, so yeah.
Yeah. Goes back to the managed performance criteria in Article 9. So it kind of touches back on their performance. In Article 10, 1B, it's conditions for breach and termination. It says if the manager fails to remain in good standing with the Secretary of State as a limited liability company. That is, first of all, it's a limited liability corporation. And couldn't it also be a straight C corporation or a simple corporation?
Yeah.
I think that was changed at the time because originally it wasn't SEM that bid for the contract. It was the bartending service. And then at the last minute, it was decided by both legal parties, his and the town's, that he should probably create a separate company. And that's when he created the limited liability company, SEM. And I think they just worded it as LLC because that's what he was. You're right, Mike. It should be any corporation, LLC, or sole proprietor that is in good standing with the state.
Yep,
The language should be
definitely.
clarified.
Yeah, needs to be clarified.
To be general.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay. Anyone else?
Joe, do
I've
you
got a
have
few.
anything?
Yeah, I've got a few.
I figured as much.
Well, it's good. I might not be as eloquent as Mike explaining them, but I'll do my best.
That's okay.
Okay, just on the section 1.1 under property, I just think we need to do maybe a little better job describing the property. We don't say anything about a bar or the gazebo, or maybe how much space we have outside. Just made a little more description there of how much square footage or something outside, across the road, down, whatever it is. But I don't think it does enough justice to the property itself talking about it there. So I think we need
Joe, would you like to see a map?
maybe not, maybe, but I mean, I know before we used to have a tent area. This doesn't mention it, just says space adjacent to the building, but the tent was across the road, I do believe, right?
Correct.
Maybe if we said X amount of square feet across the road, the gazebo near the building or something, maybe a little more description there of what this property includes.
Okay.
I agree, Joe. I don't, I think when I first found out how much they could actually use, I was kind of surprised. So I'd really like to see it spelled out better. So I agree with you on that.
All right. Moving right along on section, just on section 3.1, just seems to be a typo. It says on the third line under management fee, it says 3,400 for the third year of the term. Well, it should be per month for the third year of the term. It looks like we overpaid him if we just go by the contract. We're supposed to pay him per month. So I just think it's a typo there.
Where was that?
3.1 under management fee, the third line. It
Per month.
says, and 3,400 for the third year of the term. It should be per month for the third year of the term.
No, we get it cheap. It's just $3,400 for the whole year.
Then they better cut us a check then. I think we messed up there. I agree with you on the custodial service. I think we got to do more, a little verbiage there, so I won't go on to that one. Under record keeping, 3.4, about halfway down, the reporting, I think it should be annual, it should be not annual, quarterly, and then maybe 30 days after the commencement date of the anniversary, not 90 days. I think we got to hold it a little bit tighter and a little more reporting timely. So I'd say quarterly and 30 days. Moving right along, just to expand on what Mike said in section 5.1 on manager's services, I think the verbiage I put down is ensure all vendors have COVID checks completed for events with attendees under the age of 18. They don't need COVID checks for adult parties, but for anything under 18, I think they need to have COVID checks. So I think we need to spell that out a little bit. And that was something Selectman LaCAM brought up last time, and Mike mentioned it too. Okay. And on section 10, under breach and termination, I think we should add something, and once again, the verbiage isn't right, I'll just read what I put down there. The manager is convicted of a felony or other criminal prosecution. So if members of the group or the manager or whatever is convicted of a crime, that'd be terms for termination or some type of felony or so. I think we need to put something to do with that in there.
So basically, you just
where are
want to
you,
see
Joe?
Section 10, breach and termination. I just think we need something in there. If the management company was convicted of something from felony, that's term for this, breach right there and termination immediately. For what, I don't know, but some type of felony, I guess, or some verbiage about felony or some conviction. I think we need to add something.
yeah, you want to give us a note so that way we don't have a convicted
Exactly.
criminal running an enterprise in our
Right. I mean, that would kill us for any events and all that. So I think we'd have to address it in the contract.
Yep, okay. Definitely talk to the legal folks about that one.
Yeah.
What
And
they
that-
suggest.
Yeah, and that's all I had.
All right.
Jesse, did you have a chance to look at it?
Yeah, I got one thing that I think all event contracts should have some kind of clause in there. Maybe it goes in the no waiver section, I'm thinking, which is 10.3. There's something along the lines saying that no waivers for emergency declarations or any closures are deemed necessary by the Board of Health. Just something along, protect for, triple E, COVID kind of things, or any other thing that we don't even know about yet. Maybe some kind of wording should go in any event contract is about that, protecting us and protecting the vendors, because they're protecting, whoever the contract is on the other end of the contract. I think both sides should be protected from that. So something like, COVID doesn't really destroy them financially or us. That's all I had.
Like it's doing to us? Yeah, most of my input has already been hit upon at the present. I did have a marked up copy, but that's sitting at the office on top of my stack of tax returns to do tomorrow. So if I had anything different, I'll let you know. But I think Mike and you guys have hit upon the items that I know we've talked about. So I'll ask Paula if she had a chance to look at it and there's anything that she saw in there as a new party that is concerned with.
Hi,
Hi.
this is Paula, and I'm the newbie. But in looking over the contract, just eyeballing it, I was concerned with the fact that there is no verbiage regarding, or a clause regarding pretty much what Jesse was referencing. In the event of a town, state, or federal disaster or emergency, should we be held to the contract in such period of time that there is an emergency, i.e., we recently had the COVID emergency, and since March, pretty much everything has been shut down, April, May, June, and we're still paying $3,400 a month, and we're not getting any service from SEM. So that's an example of perhaps something we need to address in the new contract. I don't see how that is fair to the town or the park department to have to cover that when it is not at our fault. How's that? Is that reasonable? Is that something that
Well,
question?
I think it's something that should be added.
I totally agree.
I think
Mr.
it's
Chairman,
very
may I speak
important.
to something?
Who's that, Mike?
Yeah, may
Yes.
I speak to that? Paula, that is true, mostly, but they are still working with all of the current bookings that we have, lots of weddings, and they have been, rescheduling and postponing. So they are doing some work. Obviously not as much work as they would be doing, but they are doing some work. I just want to clarify that. And there was one other thing that I skipped over and I meant to talk about was, if I may, in the responsibility 6.3, the rental fees for the grounds are also paid to the town by the booking party event. The rental fees are paid to the management company, and the management company then pays the town, I believe. Isn't that correct, Nellie? Or do they write a check directly?
No, it's SEM who writes us a check twice a month.
Okay, so there's also some confusion on my part as far as the bartenders. SEM is the bartending service, so they take their receipts and they write us a check for 20%. But
Correct.
the caterers pay their bill, and how does that work exactly? The SEM takes 20% off of that, and they keep it, and then they I don't know how, I'm not sure exactly how that works with the caterers.
I do believe the caterer still just cuts a check, but pays SEM the 20%.
Okay, so the caterers bill the party who is renting the hall, and then they also pay SEM for our fee?
Correct. So ideally what should happen is when the caterer comes to the event, they should be handing over a check to SEM saying this is the amount for this party.
Okay, and that includes the 20% for the town of Lakeville?
That's right. Yes, that's what they would be handing over.
Okay.
Um,
So I think that needs to be.
Currently, that's 18%.
Right, I'm just going by what it says here. Yeah.
I know.
But I think that all needs to be clarified in any new contract.
So,
No.
can I ask a question? So when this went out to bid for the first time, was it two bids, one for the caterer / management, one for the management company and one for the bartending company? Or was it all one and then the bartending got separated out? I guess that's where my biggest confusion is here.
Okay. maybe I can help because I believe I was the only one here other than Nellie. The contract went out, and it was all right. You got to remember the bartending service had the liquor license.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So they were our only liquor provider. When the contract went out, the RFP, it was to manage the building, to get the weddings in there and the birthday parties and have at it and do all the organization and pay us the fee, collect the money and pay us the fee. That was how Town Hall wanted it set up, that we
Yep.
would be getting a check twice a month, based on when a function ended, when a function happened. As soon as the function happened, it was paid in the next 2 weeks. If I'm correct on that, Nellie, that's the way it was set up, right?
Yes.
So if a function happened today, and they were supposed to pay us this coming Friday, included in their report would be the money for that, which would include the caterer, the bartending service, and the hall rental, and whatever other fees might be included, chair rental or
Right.
what have you. So so what happened is the bartending service, because they didn't have SEM, bid on it.
Yep.
And then the powers to be decided that it would be better to break away the bartending service from managing the facility. And that's when they came up with starting this new LLC called SEM.
Okay. So what would be, I'm just trying to understand here, what would be the ideal? Should we just bid for a management company who then would, but see, the liquor license has to be in, wasn't it because the liquor license wasn't in one company's name, that's when they had to go in front of the Board of Selectmen all the time to keep getting a liquor license for one day, a liquor license for one day? Isn't that how that happened?
Correct, but they were the only one that was being used.
Okay. So would it make any sense? I'm just throwing out a suggestion here to like do two. You see, just splitting it and saying, okay, here's the management company that's going to take care of this, but this is the liquor company, the bartending service that is going to have to work to do the event. So this whole we had to create a company so that company could have the liquor license every year. That's where a lot of this confusion happens. So,
well, it's the bartending service that has the liquor license, not SEM.
Right. SCM is the manager.
Correct.
So then when you have an event, they say to the bartending company, okay, we have an event. And they hold the liquor license, which means they don't have to come in front of the Board of Selectmen to get a day-by-day liquor license.
Correct, because they were over the limit that they were doing.
Yeah.
So the selectmen in the selectman's office approached ABC about it, and they said that it would be better to do it that way, and that's the way the selectmen wanted it, was to just have one license, so they didn't have to keep okaying these, one-day licenses, which was fine with us because they were our only liquor provider.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do hear that there's, a lot of, bartending company of whatever, bartending company of all different city names, and that's all they do is the bartending service. I mean, would it make sense to sort of put out 2 RFPs and have just one bartending? The bartending company, all they do is offer, and they have the bartending license, and then the management company, whoever it is, has to work with them? Or is that not what we want to do here?
Well, if somebody else had come in and put a bid on it, the bartending service would have to be working with somebody else, but no one else came in.
Okay.
The bartending service was the only one that put a bid in.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And they just felt that it was better to separate the bartending service with the liquor license
right
from the
out of
management
the
company.
management company.
Yeah. So
Okay,
that's why and that was all, I walked into one meeting and they went, oh, we're going to have a new company. And this is what, the lawyers and the selectmen wanted. So I was like, yeah, okay. What does that mean for me? And they go, well, no difference. It's the same people working for both. So,
right. Okay.
Can I add something?
I'm just trying to understand, the whole, and the license, the actual liquor license is renewed every year. And, they have to provide all their insurance certificates and everything else.
correct.
So they are operating as a separate entity. So, okay, all right. Okay.
Can I just add something there? Can I
Sure.
add something? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think that the management company does the management because they make the bulk of their money on alcohol sales.
Right. That's kind
I
of
don't
what
know if it would be worth it for a management company to come in to do all the bookings and stuff for the $3,400 a month. I'm not sure of that, Leah. I get the if you look at the numbers, they make much more on the liquor
on the
sales.
alcohol. Sure. I mean, that's pretty standard for the business, for that industry. So, but it's just not neat paperwork. That's all, so I just want to make sure we're asking all the right questions too. Because let's say we have a different management company that comes in, are we going to have to do the same thing to have them split off a division so that they can have the liquor license, so it's just,
Well, I mean, our agreement was with that bartending service. So the management company, the way it's set up now, the management company really, I know it's the same people, but they don't have any bearing on the liquor.
right. They just.
So, I mean, we could have Leah Fabian could open up, Leah Fabian, a management company and come in and be the one person that sits there and takes the phone calls and meets with the people and does it. And, you'd get the $3,400 a month.
Yep.
And all that the bartending service would get is their sales.
Right, their sales.
I think that's,
Yeah.
I think the reason they even bid on it was because they had the people in place, booking their things, and their thought was it was just going to be, a little bit of added work and time spent. I mean, because when they're there at the hall Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're not doing just SEM work.
Right.
They're doing other things, which, I mean, as long as the job gets done, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
But they're set up in the building there, and they're doing other things too. So if someone tells you, well, we need 3 people 3 days a week and Saturdays, that's not the case.
Yep.
And it's really, I mean, Mary Beth did that by herself.
Right.
Yes, she was a little tight, but that's because she was also, coming to some of the events and things like that. Whereas, it's the same people running SEM as running the bartending service.
Right. And to Mike's point, that's where, I think a lot of their profits coming from is the sale of the alcohol. So.
Right. This is just an added little bonus for them, because they're sitting there doing, managing the bartending service and fielding a few phone calls for us.
Yeah. Can I just ask Nellie, because Nellie, you work with this day in, day out. Do you see an area where there's confusion or where there's not good communication or anything like that you would like that we can address in a contract situation?
Oh, thanks. No, I've worked really well with SEM. So in terms of them booking and being available for me to see, to reference, that's all been good. It's just been they and I who have kind of created that tracking of everything going on. So of course, if anybody has suggestions of improvements, we all just kind of created that with what made sense in our minds.
Okay.
Nellie,
So,
oh, go ahead. Nellie, correct me
other
if I'm
than
wrong,
that,
but correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you pass it by the town accountant and in the beginning, didn't you pass it by the town accountant and he was like, okay with it? I thought that was,
I thought that they showed him, maybe, it wasn't me. Somebody showed him that per event sheet, you know which one I'm talking about, that they give to us.
the Excel spreadsheet.
And yeah, well, no, that's mine. They give us the per event one. So you
Okay.
get a sheet of paper for every single event that breaks it down. The theory that went around was that we could use that and just submit that in to accounting, but that doesn't really work.
Okay. Okay. All right. But
So it
otherwise,
was just for reporting.
yeah. Otherwise, though, the schedule seems to work okay. The couple times a month, whatever. And
Yeah.
now I know that Tracy handles all the liquor license things, so she gets those certificates of insurance. But do you get the other certificates of insurance? I mean, maybe we could, Maureen, what do you think? Do you think we should spell that out in the contract, who's to get them?
So we can create a group email.
Yeah,
We did it for like the green communities. So
Yeah.
we could create a group email, and each of the stakeholders that we identify would get a copy of any of the emails that get sent out, and that might be the way to go. And that way no one gets left off.
okay. I mean, that would be something we could do internally, but do you think we need to specify here? So that way so that way the company isn't saying, well, I sent it to so-and-so. If it was specified, that needs to go to the selectmen, or I don't know if that's just me, that's fine, we can move on, but
Leah, do you mean the caterers and such, their paperwork?
well, whoever it is that we need to have the management company needs to have its insurance. We're talking specifically about the management company contract.
Okay.
And if we are going to require quarries for functions where, so I feel like we should put it in the contract so they know who has to get it. And then they can have like one, copy of whatever. And then internally, we can make sure that everyone gets it. But, I don't know that it's fair to tell the company that they have to send it to the selectman's office, the park commission, the clerk's office. I think that we should spell out who it should go to. So, but that's, Maureen and I we can work on that part, I guess.
But,
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that currently the way it is? I mean, doesn't Tracy have to have that information to give him a liquor license?
Well, she gets it for the liquor license, but I don't know, she doesn't get it every year. If they send it to her, then she gets it. So it's just another we need to follow up with it. We need to make sure that, for the liquor license, she definitely has to have it for the renewal of the liquor license every year. But I don't know if that's the same thing. So we'll check with her and see, because I thought there was a couple missing that we finally tracked down. So, okay. All right. I'll work on that. That's okay. All right. So on some of the other stuff, it sounds like we're all on the same page. But we definitely, I think, need to spell out the election dates there.
So what Scott and I and Lil had talked about, Leah, was it would be the election dates, which we get in advance, which that she'll have in advance for most of them, unless it's a special election, et cetera, et cetera. And then it is the evening before those elections also. So it's, the elections that we name the dates for and the evening before. So that wouldn't preclude the parks from having a daytime event, but they wouldn't be able to have a nighttime event because of the fact that everything has to be set up and secured for election safety.
Okay. But, you know, that was kind of stressful for all of us trying to figure out early voting. So I did not want to tie up 20 days of the, you know, of the lodge in the fall this year. So, you know, that hopefully we'll be able to get the old town hall. The ramp's done. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it looks great. So is there anything else on this that anyone can call out? I think, Marlene, we pretty much, you and I covered a lot of, you know, what Mike and Joe and everybody said. So a couple of other extra things in there, but I'm pretty good here for us to work on a first draft of this. So maybe we can meet in another, I don't know, I hate to say 2 weeks, but maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know if we want to wait that long, but we'll check with, you know, Tracy on how long it will take for the procurement. Whatever.
So it would take her about 21 days to put all that stuff out.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, we just want to have as much information as going into it as possible, and then pass it by the lawyers, which is the time that takes the extra time.
Okay. Leah, this is Paula. And getting back to Scott's comment about the SEM company, they work on stuff that got canceled. And I was wondering if it would be reasonable to expect SEM to at least prorate us for the months that we didn't use most of their services. I know that maybe they can't wipe out $3,400 a month, but hopefully the contract will reflect something about town, state, or federal disaster, and certainly ask for some kind of a prorating fee instead of us having to pay the full amount. Is that reasonable?
I think we can definitely look at the way that's written.
I don't think there was anything written about it because nobody thought we would have a disaster.
Like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll definitely take a look at that too. I think I wrote that down.
Thank
That
you.
was like the 10.3 section, right, Jesse?
Yeah, I think it would go 10.3 where it talked about waivers or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll look at that. And then the other area, I know that everyone needs to pay for their space, but I do know that there's been a couple of town committees or boards, and, you know, like we did have the Fall Fest there and whatever. I would, if is anyone opposed to us trying to, you know, change that? I think that's in the 4.1 permitted uses. I think, Maureen, can you help me out here? Didn't we have one group that paid like $1,200? It was an actual town group.
Yes, I recall. I don't know what event it was, but I heard that they had to pay $1,200 for the event, as opposed to just the cleaning fee. And I want to make sure whatever language we have going forward, we all know what it costs for the town to put on town-sponsored events in either the grounds or the gazebo or the tents or inside Loon Pond Lodge. So whatever we do, we'll spell it out with, you know, whether it just be the fees for cleaning or if it's the fees for cleaning plus, or and there was another event, Leah. I think it was Winterfest.
Yeah.
That had an issue also. But yeah, if we add some beefed up language and clarify really what it is that the town is expecting and what the parks are expecting for those events, I think we should be in a better place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to expand on both of those right now. The one you're talking about for $1,200, they sold space for vendors, and they tied up the lodge from Friday night, Saturday, and all day Sunday. Now,
Okay.
2 weddings would have been $3,000. $1,200, they sold space and made more than $1,200. So
Okay.
I understand that, yeah, we're trying to give townspeople a break and town groups a break.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've charged us with running a building
Right.
and forcing us to pay for this budget. And this is how we have to do it. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
you know,
makes
some
sense
agreement
if
can be brought to, but
multiple days. No, but that makes sense on a whole weekend.
Yeah.
that was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah,
And
especially if they
Winterfest.
in return, yeah, especially if they
uh,
in return sold space, then, you know, then
Yeah,
that's.
but I want to go back to Winterfest. We
Yeah.
didn't get any money for Winterfest. Okay.
Okay,
And the doors were open. I came there, the doors were wide open in the middle of February and the heat was going out the door.
okay,
And we had to pay for all the supplies and everything that was there. And at that
Yeah.
time, you know, the final cleanup fell on us after some cleanup,
all right.
and we got nothing.
Let me ask a different question then. How many big like town events are done typically? Again, we're not talking COVID-19, we're talking in a typical year. Is it 2, 3? I mean, and you know what, honestly, if they were selling space, then, you know, I mean,
We gave them a discount.
Yeah, yep,
I
yes,
mean-
Nellie,
It wasn't $1,200, it was $6.
Yeah.
it was 6, okay.
Yeah.
All right, but see, these are the questions that I have. If it's an event that's gonna bring the community together, you know, you're right, Scott, I don't want it to cost the parks money because you're an enterprise fund, you're trying to cover your costs. So, you know, I just don't know if it's worth putting something in the actual contract or.
So,
So-
Leah, I might have a suggestion for that everyone might be happy with. We'll
Yeah.
see. So what if the Board of Selectmen vet that process and that request, and in order for it to be no charge from the parks, it has to be a vote of the Board of Selectmen.
Approved by the Board
No.
of Selectmen, right.
And
I don't agree with that.
You don't?
Well-
You-
No.
To be perfectly honest, Scott, I think if, as the Board of Selectmen, we're going to approve a Winterfest, then, you know, we should definitely not be putting the burden of the cost on the parks because we want it for, you know, the community. But I think it's just something that we need to think about right now.
You also have to look at the timing.
I'll get some information from Nellie on some of this. It's, we'll work on this, but I totally understand your point, and I'm glad I asked the question because if, you know, there is a town event and space is sold, then you're right, you know, if space is sold to other vendors, then, you know, I don't know if it was a fundraiser or whatever. But I mean, Winterfest, I like Winterfest, but you're right. I don't want the parks to bear the burden if Winterfest is something that, you know, I miss not having the Winterfest, but, you know, you're right. We should, you're absolutely right, Scott. We're asking you guys to, you know, women, men, to pay for everything, to raise money, to support yourselves, and then we're saying, oh, by the way, can you foot the bill for this? So I totally get your, you know, but I'm glad I asked the question because I have a lot more information now than I did before. And Nellie, I'll probably call you and ask you a couple more questions on that. So,
This
Okay.
is Jesse. You also asked about how many we've been doing a year. And
Yeah.
Since I've been on the commission, there's been 0 events like this. We've
Yeah.
only, you know, given out space for meetings, the Board of Health and the fire
Yeah.
chief, but
Yeah.
no events.
okay. Okay. All right.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Why don't we just keep in touch and have communication about these things and work together? When you have requests, reach out to us and we can discuss it with you folks and see if it's feasible.
Yeah.
What works and what doesn't
I
work.
do, yeah, I do
So-
like that idea, Mike. But I'm glad I asked the questions, you know?
And you also have to look at the timing of the event. You
Right,
know, something that's in April, May, and June is high wedding traffic time.
right. If you can
September,
be,
October, early November is high wedding time. You know,
Right, if you can
and when I was
generate
informed that we were going to have to give
revenue.
up 20 days for early voting in October, I almost lost it.
Yeah,
I mean, that
yeah.
was going
no,
to
I
be,
know. And I mean, way before COVID-19, remember, Nellie, I had come up to the office and I was like, I mean, I looked just disheveled and perplexed. What are we going to do? Because we can't take 20 days, you know, in September and October for early voting, especially when the state was saying, well, you know, we're not going to make Saturdays mandatory, but you know, they were hinting that they wanted early voting on Saturdays too. So I'm really glad that, you know, we have a pretty good plan for that.
Yep.
We just need to work on getting some heat and a couple of other things done. But, and Mike, this is your meeting. I know I've taken over this contract thing, but you can tell me to stop anytime. It's your meeting.
I had a quick follow-up question, and this will be my last question of the night, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
How does one of the other boards get their request to you if it's not through the Board of Selectmen? Because like Jesse said, it hasn't happened in at least a year for an event at the park, so it hasn't gone through me yet. So how does the request generally get through to you?
Now,
wait a minute, what do you mean by event?
if the, you know, whatever was going to have Winterfest, they would contact Nellie first, or would they come to a Parks Department meeting?
They could contact Nellie and she can let us know and
Okay.
you know, we can move forward from there. I mean, that's the way it's been. Unfortunately, I'm just going to say it, you know, Winterfest got put on the agenda and didn't get brought to the meeting. But that's all I'll say.
Okay.
We didn't know
Okay.
about it until the last minute.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Yep.
that's beside the point.
No, I'm trying to figure out how you're getting your information and how it's vetting. And when I was suggesting the Board of Selectmen, that solution, it was to make sure that the Board of Selectmen were behind the event for you to try to protect your income source.
Yeah, the original.
Not to override you guys, but to vet the event before it gets to you.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. That wasn't how I heard it, but
That's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to clarify
Yep.
because I just worry that you're getting events that maybe the town is, I don't know, not clear on, you know, what good it can be to have a 3-day event where it's going to go in the parks and it would vet before it got to you. So that would be my.
But that goes, right. That goes back to what Mike said too about communication. So,
Yeah,
you know.
sure.
Yep. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, I am glad I asked that question though, and got some information on that. So unless anyone else has anything, Maureen, do you have anything else? I think
No.
I've
I
asked
said it
all
was my last one and I'll stick to it.
yeah. Okay. So Maureen and I will work on this, and I'll let you know, Scott or Mike or whoever wants to be the lead, and you know, we can meet again. Maybe a couple of us can go over and what we've come up with or work together, or Maureen and I will figure it out. She's not
Yep.
going on vacation anytime soon. No.
No, they don't let me out of my office.
Okay. But Scott, I do absolutely, you know, recognize your conundrum, especially this year. You know, you're an enterprise fund, you have to support yourself, and then we're like, okay, but we don't want to pay for this, that, and the other thing. So But hopefully, I think we'll have a lot of communication going forward, at least hopefully while I'm around. So
I appreciate
hopefully some
that.
of yeah, hopefully some of these issues will sort of, will kind of go away. So, or get better.
That would be great.
Yep. Okay. All right. I'm good. Anything else anyone have to add to these contracts? 'Cause that's pretty much the reason Maureen and I are here, and I might just hang out and hear about your reorganization. I don't even know when that is. Is that next?
Yep.
We're
All right.
sending our, one question, we're sending our notes regarding the contract to,
Send them to me, and then I'll take a look and I'll just synthesize them into, points, and I'll throw a bunch of points on there, and then everyone can know what everyone said. It'll be cleaner than having to read 15 versions of the contract.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One version's enough.
One version is enough.
Right. So I'm going to hang out for a little bit, but I'm going to mute myself. And then at some point you're going to be like, I guess Leah's gone. Thank
Bye,
you to
guys.
everybody.
Have
Thank
a
you
good
for your-
night, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Okay.
Leah. Thank you, Maureen.
Yeah.
Scott, I need to take 1 second.
Okay. For the rest of you that are here, were you able to look at what we titled our roles and responsibilities that Nellie sent out last week, I guess? I'm not sure the date.
Yeah, it was the last meeting.
Yes.
Jesse, have you had a chance to look at it?
Yep, I looked at it.
Okay, Joe?
On my computer now.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Paula, did you have a chance to look at that?
I don't believe I did.
Okay. Right, because you weren't, I don't know.
So we obviously have to update
Email.
some.
It was
But,
sent to us on June 26th for
Yeah.
titled Next Park Commission Meeting.
What it kind of entails what each responsibility has to do. I'll just hit the highlights here real quick while Mike's gone.
Okay,
For you, Paula, we have a
thank
chairman.
you.
We have a chairman of the board, obviously, that oversees the meetings, meets with town hall. They have a monthly department head meeting, which we're currently having weekly. Those are usually during the day. Meet with Nate Darling or Maureen, oversee Nellie's position, the budget, and the overall responsibility of the Parks Department. We also have a position called the vice chairman, who is there to fill in for the chairman at board meetings or any other town meetings if he or she is unable to fulfill that spot. And there's been times when we've had to ask other people, like I know Joe has punched in and gone to some of the department head meetings for us because we couldn't make it, which was great. And Jesse's at some of the meetings already, so that works out. We also have we have to have 2 people for payroll signees. So we have a biweekly payroll recap that Nellie does for us, but someone on the board has to sign it. It's more busy, obviously, during Clear Pond Park, that not being the case this year. Those 3 positions, or the vice chairman and the payroll signees, are anybody. What we tried to do is to split up the responsibilities of the board. They're not, like when I say the Ted Williams Camp scheduler, that doesn't mean that that person makes all the decisions. They're the point person. If someone calls about a schedule, they have the schedule. They may make up the schedule for the fields, but they're apprising the board of everything that's happening. That's mainly Ted Williams Camp spring and fall. They schedule all the baseball fields. The main crux to the scheduling with the baseball fields is the teams we have that pay to play, the AAU teams, the men's softball, and anybody that's practicing on those fields. The other ones, the soccer fields, are pretty much run by soccer, although we do have a women's soccer that plays on Sundays, so we have to make sure that that's, done in conjunction with the soccer club. Football in the past has used some space for practice. The tennis courts and pickleball, that's another issue. The basketball courts, is not a lot of scheduling. We did have an annual tournament there, so we would have to, post some paperwork outside the field, outside the court, saying, the court will be closed this day due to a tournament, but that only happens once a year. And then going forward, we will be scheduling the new fields. That'll be a kind of a different animal. But that's what the scheduler does. They get the information, make sure that we have, in conjunction with Nellie, make sure that we have, the contracts back from the people. We have the insurance binders, that they've paid their money, and anything else we need. Like this year, we've had to go on forward and get the COVID information plan, I should say. The John Pond Fields currently is being done by Joe. He also does the scheduling for that because it just makes sense. He's the one person, he has a men's and women's blooper ball. He has the town softball league, and then we also rent space to some, I'll just call them AAU softball teams, possibly practice and maybe a tournament or whatever. But he pretty much handles that as the John Pond person. Obviously I'll go right into John Pond, and again, it's pretty much spring and late summer. You're the contact person. If someone's got a question or an issue or a problem, you're the first person they call. But you also have the schedules with you, as well as Nellie has a master schedule, so that if there's any conflicts, you can answer those things. There's a few other little things to do with it, but it's pretty much the overseeing John Pond and the scheduling and the fields and what's needed down there. We have the new bathroom down there. There's a couple things we have to do to that to get that 100%, but they were working last summer. Then we have a Clear Pond liaison, works with our supervisor of the parks. That's pretty much a early spring and summer. It's something where you stop in at the parks, 2-3 times a week, whatever you feel you need to, talking with the director and seeing what their needs are and bringing those needs to the board. Again, you're the emergency person that they would call first, rather than calling the chairman all the time with all these calls. I'm just saying, say that, this is the example I use all the time, but it's a perfect example. The director calls and says, hey, the septic system's, I think it's going to overflow. Well, boom, let's call the septic company, get it down there. You make that decision, and then you apprise the board that it's been done. Something like that. That's an emergency and needs to be taken care of. You would work with the hiring process of the director, the workers, setting up hiring salaries and trying to come up with a little budget for Clear Pond. That's something I'd like to see. We really haven't done just a budget for Clear Pond, but I think it would be good to incorporate that in our overall budget. I think going forward, it would be a good thing to do. And again, you're the liaison when it comes to that. Then we have a Ted Williams Camp field equipment liaison. It's needed all year. You're the one that deals with our couple of employees, well, our single employee right now, Bobby. You coordinate major improvements, which Mike Nolan has been doing. Field development. And again, you're the contact person. Someone needs something down at Clear Pond. You're the person they call. Overseeing the outdoor bathrooms, which we haven't been able to open yet. And different things like that. Maybe scheduling the mosquito spraying, calling Plymouth County Mosquito Control to get them down there. Or contacting the town to see if they can just get a blanket thing where they, we give them a list, the town gives them a list and they hit those spots every month. And then there's the lodge liaison. That's an all year thing. Again, you're the contact person. You deal directly with SCM on a daily or, 3-4 times a week. What's needed, what repairs and maintenance, which we usually do in the wintertime. We usually paint all the baseboard and try to get things, get the carpet cleaned again and do a deep clean in the kitchens and the bathrooms. Again, you were responsible for the winter and snow removal, but it sounds like the highway department's going to be doing that. So that's a good thing. Well, you'd be working with the haunted house too, but we don't have that anymore either. So, but there's still, like one project that we'd like to do down there is we'd like to build a hard shell pavilion, out there in the grass, and since we lost our tent. But that's kind of on the back burner right now because we're not going to have any retained earnings to do so. But these are some of the positions that we have: a lodge rental, lodge liaison, the Ted Williams Camp field liaison, Clear Pond Park, John Pond Park, and the Ted Williams Camp scheduler. That's heavy in the spring. Like February 1st to April 1st is when all the scheduling for those AAU teams get done. So that's a busy time. I did it for 1 year and I can't do that time frame. That's my busiest time of the year for work. So it's one thing that I had to give up. But that's kind of where we are and how we've separated our roles and responsibilities so that, because the first year I was the chairman, I got all these phone calls and it was just, I still work a 45-hour, 50-hour a week job. I couldn't do it all. So that's why we developed this. And there's a couple other things I know Joe had brought up. And there's a couple of other parks that we're in control of. For some reason or another, we're not in charge of all the parks. Go figure that. But we also are in charge of Dickern Square, which is out in front of the church, across the street from the old town hall. And Joe, what's the name of the other one? It's down at the foot of the Highland Road. Shaw Park? Shaw Park. That's that little park at the foot of Highland Road, right across from the water. They're Highland Road and 18. The highway mows it, and they mow Dickern Square, so there's not much that we do.
What
I
did
guess
you
if
call
somebody
it?
wanted to do
Dog
something,
park?
they would come and ask us, but that's about it. So we'll incorporate those into one of these other things. And that person would be the lead call-in for that. Because about the only thing that I know happens at Dickern Square is the fall festival there. They use the Dickern Square, but they don't come to us to ask. They go to the selectmen. So these are some of the things that we do. And there's a lot more detail to it. But I'd be here a long time if I was doing that.
Okay. Where is Shark Park? Did you call it Shark Park?
Shaw Park. It's at the foot of Highland Road, where Highland Road runs into Route 18, right across from the Assawamsa Pond. There's a couple of picnic tables out there and some grills.
Yeah, that's ours.
Yeah.
It's actually Shaw Park, SHAW Park.
Okay. Okay, like Shark Home.
Yeah, that's
Okay. And what do we do with that?
We don't do much. Highway department mows it.
I mean,
okay.
something we might want to take a look at doing something there. Maybe put more picnic tables if you think it needs it, more grills over there, whatever. But it's something we should take a look at a little bit.
Yep. And what we'll do is we'll incorporate it into one of these other groups. Whoever has the least, we can add those two to it to give them a little more.
What about Tamarack Park? Is that ours?
No.
Tamarack?
No.
Okay.
But it's a park, but it's not ours.
Okay. Okay.
Don't ask us why. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it's a park, and I'm okay.
Yeah, the Conservation Commission has their hands in that one.
Oh, probably because it's on the water, maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
So at this point, we talk about these positions and, you know, my feeling is I'm going to kind of, I'm going to ask Mike because he's got the most time on the board. If there's something he'd like to do, you know, he's got at least 3 years prior than the last 3 he's been on. Was that right, Mike? Was it, you've been on for 6 years?
No, I had 6 years before that.
6. So you've got more time on than I do.
Yeah, 9 total. I'm fine doing what I'm doing or, you know, helping out. If you're looking for vice chair or chair or whatever, I don't know what you want to do, Scott. So I can do whatever is needed of me. I do have a good relationship with Franklin, and that's new with the
Yep.
highway department.
Yep.
So I would prefer to stay on the Ted Williams camp.
Yep. And
That thing. You know, it seems to be working out. Like if Joe needs something, he calls me and
right.
talk to Franklin, and I'm kind of the point there, and it's working out, and they're working very well with us. So
Right.
other than that, I don't really, you know.
I wouldn't want to add any more to that, but I think that's a good thing right now where, you know, you and Franklin have got a good relationship going. That if any of us need something, I think we should let Mike call Franklin and we keep it to one person, you know, rather than the 5 of us calling Franklin saying, I need this, I need this, I need this. You know, I think it would work a lot better. It seems to have.
It is working. It's working out well. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
You called me, and Joe's called me. Jesse hasn't needed anything because Clearmont hasn't. And although you did call and we got him down there to mow and clear the brush. So.
Yep.
Yeah, it's working out fine. That's working for me.
I think it's a good way to keep going. Myself.
Okay.
You know,
somebody wants to take over the Loon Pond Lodge and SEM. That's fine with me too. That's kind of a pain. The only problem with that job, and I would give you guys all a heads up, is you tend to get calls on the weekends because
that's when they're busy.
Yeah, and that's when the problems occur. But Nellie's laughing. So if anybody, whatever.
You know, I've been the chairman for 3 years. I don't mind doing it. You know, I think I have a pretty good relationship with town hall. You know, but like anything, you know, if someone else feels that they want to step up, you know, I have no problem with it. I will gladly take a break and move on to something else. I think it's something everybody should try, but you know, there and again, it's not going to happen because we have double electees, you know, on 2 years. So, but you know, if someone feels strongly that they want to jump up and do that, I really have no problem. You know.
Scott, are you talking about Loon Pond?
No, right now I'm talking about being the chairman
right now.
Oh, the chairman. No, I thought you were talking about working with Loon.
Yeah, and unless anybody else wants to step up, I would nominate Scott again as chair.
Second that. It's Jesse.
Okay. Is there anybody else that feels that they would want to take that role?
Oh, sirree.
You sure, Joe?
You're doing a great job, Scott.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Roll call vote. We'll start with Mr. Nolan as I can see him first.
Aye.
Let's see, who else do I have over here? I have Mr. Joe Kasha,
Aye.
Mr. Jesse Medford,
Aye.
and Ms. Paula Hool.
Aye.
Okay. Next on the lineup would be a vice chairman. That position, again, you know, how many meetings did you have to do this year? It was Justin was the vice chair, but he stepped up. I'm usually here. Occasionally I miss a meeting, but that's pretty much what the vice chair would do. would take over a meeting or a town, some type of a town meeting if I couldn't get there. And if they can't make it, then we ask someone else, like for the department head meeting, I always like to have somebody there, just to be apprised of what's going on, because it's all the departments speaking, and that way you kind of learn what's going on in the town. So it's good to be there, even if you don't just say, I've got nothing to report, I'm just filling in. It's just, taking an hour out of your day to be there.
I
But
think you might have only missed 2 meetings in the year here. I think
Yeah.
you probably did 2.
yeah, so we need a vice chair, and I'd nominate Mike Nolan if unless someone else has a inkling to do that.
Good idea. I second that one.
Second that one. Any further discussion on that? Is there anybody that really feels that they want to do that? Nothing heard? Okay, all those in favor? We'll start with Joe Kasha,
I,
Mike Nolan,
Mm,
Jesse Medford,
Aye.
Paula Hool,
Aye.
Scott Holmes, aye. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Wait, how do I list Mike's vote?
That was in the
It was a,
affirmative.
it was. Okay, the next thing we need, and these are just positions that we need 2 payroll signees. They can be anybody.
Hey, Scott,
Yes.
can I just say congratulations to everybody, the chair and the vice chair, and to Paula, and thank you to everybody. And I'm gonna cut out.
You're gonna cut out on us?
Thanks, Leah.
Go
Thank
go
you.
have dinner.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Scott
Leah.
has my number. If anyone wants my number, Scott has my number, Tracy has my number, whatever, if anyone wants to talk to me. But thank you to everybody.
And Leah,
Yep.
in my 6 years on the board, you're the only select person that's come to a meeting. I shouldn't say that. Rich did come to a meeting. But you are the only person that's come to a meeting or been involved with us as a liaison in the 6 years I've been on the board.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
And we're
It's a
glad to
new
have you.
day. It's a new day.
Absolutely.
All right.
Hallelujah.
I know, right? All right. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Good
Good night.
night.
Okay, moving on. Payroll signee. We need a couple of people, and they just have to be available, and that's why there's 2. Right, Nellie, how many do you need to sign payroll? Just 1?
Just one.
But we have 2.
I'll
So that,
volunteer.
and actually, we did add a 3rd, didn't we? Because people are going to be away.
Yep.
But we normally start with 2, and if we need a 3rd, then the board votes to add a 3rd.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody that wants to volunteer to do that.
I just heard Paula pipe up,
Oh.
so I'll nominate Paula.
Okay.
Great, I'll second that.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, it's you just got to be available to sign off on the payroll and do a cursory check of the payroll. Nellie's already done all the summary report, but it's good to look at that and look at some of the time reports that she has behind it and get familiar with the names and the people. It's just a few minutes out of your day twice a week. And if you can't do it, then the other person signs it. So I mean, it's not
Twice a month. Twice a month, Scott.
twice a month. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
twice a month. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to get paid twice a week.
Yeah. Is there anybody else that'd like to volunteer?
I'll do it. I'm doing it now, so I don't mind doing it again.
Okay.
Joe Kosha.
I'll second that.
I second it.
No conversation heard. All those in favor, Joe Kasha? Mike Nolan?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Jesse?
Aye.
Paula?
Aye.
Scott, aye. All right, thank you very much, both of you. Okay, so we'll go right to the next one. This is a time-consuming job in the spring. And once the schedule is made, it's just maintenance, like if there's a rain out or something. But the real crux of the time spent is with the AAU teams, Field 4 and Field 1. The rest of the Little League fields are entirely used by Little League. Horseshoes are horseshoes. We just got to stay on top of them as far as when they're having tournaments. They have to request the time. And that's with all these groups.
What are you on, scheduler?
scheduler. I'm on the scheduler.
Okay.
This is like, again, it's mainly a springtime thing, maybe a little bit in the fall, but well, we'll move on from that. No one's jumping up and down. How about John Pond Park?
Well, I'm doing it. I wouldn't mind doing it another year. I got 1 year under my belt with it, so I think it's starting to get a grip on what needs to
Yep.
happen. So I wouldn't mind keeping that, if you don't mind.
Yep. No, I think that's a good
Second
thing,
that.
Joe. I think that's a good thing. You've done a good thing down there. I like what I see. Danielle was also supposed to cut me a check for Blue Ball.
Yes.
Well, Jackie wanted her to run the check down to Blue Ball so she could get the check to you. Danielle goes, why don't I just give it to Scott?
Yeah, you go.
So, but anyhow, if we have a motion for Mr. Kasha to continue on as John Pond Park.
I'll
Liaison?
motion to keep Joe Kasha second year on John Pond Park.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Second. Any further discussion? None being heard. All those in favor? Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Jesse Medford,
Aye.
Paula Hool,
Aye. Scott
Scott Holmes, aye. Joe Kasha, you got to vote on this?
I'll abstain from that one. I say no. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. We have Clear Pond Park, which is mainly early spring and summer. We also have the lodge. And Joe, Mike, did we give you Ted Williams Camp already?
I don't know.
No, I guess we haven't. So we have Clear Pond Park. Is there anybody that feels they want to jump up and down on Clear Pond Park?
I don't want to turn that job down this year. You were saying, which job has less work to do, throw on Shaw and.
Yeah.
And
That's
Derek.
exactly what I was thinking, because yours is that one is the smallest. It's not the year round.
Right,
That
yeah.
or the scheduler is not the two that are really aren't year round.
Well, those aren't exactly heavy workload either, but you might as well throw them on this one.
Yeah. All right. We'll add Shaw Park and Dickern Square onto Clear Pond Park.
Yeah.
Unless someone else really wants to. Nice shorts there, Joe. Unless someone else wants to really do it, we can.
Well, who's doing it now?
What's that? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, who's doing Clear Pond now?
Jesse.
I am Jesse.
Oh, Jesse, oh. Can we nominate Jesse?
Sure. We'll take that as a
Second.
nomination. We have a second.
Second.
Have a second. I'll second it. All those in favor, Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
I
Paula Hool,
Aye.
Scott Holmes, aye. Jesse, you don't have a vote. So we'll add those two. Nellie, if you could add those two to your nice little diagram you have here with the bullets. If you could add those two parks to that. We have the Ted Williams Camp Field Equipment Staff Liaison. It's an all-year position. Mike Nolan has done that in the past. I'd like to make a nomination for Mike Nolan to continue on. He has a good working relationship with not only Franklin, our highway supervisor, or DPW director, I should say. He also has a good working relationship with our employees down there.
Mhm.
So I'd like to nominate Mike.
second it.
Second. Any further discussion on that? None being heard. We'll take a vote. Joe Kasha,
I
Jesse Medford,
Aye.
Paula Hool,
Aye.
Scott Holmes, aye. Mike, would you like to vote?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. So what we have left, we have two things that we have left, and that's the lodge and SEM liaison, and we have the scheduling.
I'll volunteer.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Paula, if you would be interested in doing the lodge if that's something that you would be willing to do. I would be glad to help you because I've done it the last couple of years.
Who am I speaking with?
This is
It's
Mike.
Nolan.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Mike. Oh, sure. I don't recognize everybody's voice. And I can't see you. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Probably better off you can't see me. So if that's, I mean, that's one of the only ones left, and it's mostly dealing with the folks from SEM. And as far as Loon Pond Lodge, Scott, I mean, I cover a lot of that stuff anyway with the Ted Williams camp, you know, any of the outside of the building and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So I would offer my help if that's something that would interest you, Paula.
I would like to start somewhere, and I think that would be good. And if I have your support, I would feel even better.
Okay.
Well, Paula,
Because
just to let you know, Paula,
Yeah.
you have all of our support at any time, as does all the commissioners. You know, we are a working board, you know, when it comes to something. You know, if Jesse needs a hand and I can help him, you know, he needs to call me. Same with Joe or Mike or anybody or you. You know, I think we all work together. I think we have a good group here. And I can't stress enough that we are what I call a working board. We don't just come and vote every 2 weeks. You know, we're down the parks, we're in the parks. You know, sometimes it means we got to roll up our sleeves and do something, then that's what we have to do. But, you know, that's the way this park commission was built. It was built with a lot of, I'll say, sweat and equity, because they didn't even have a budget in the beginning. Never mind being an enterprise fund, they didn't even have a budget. So, you know, a lot of it was done volunteer work, mowing lawns, keeping the fields mowed, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, don't feel that you're taking this position all by yourself, even though Mike's willing to help you, which is great. You know, at any time you need any help from anybody, please don't hesitate to ask. And that goes for everybody, including you, Nellie.
Great.
Thanks.
No, I'm saying if you need help, you call.
No, I'm saying thank you. You're
Yes.
including me. I feel included.
You should.
Okay, so I'd like to go ahead and nominate Paula for that position.
I'll second it.
There you go.
Okay, any further discussion? None being heard? Mike Nolan, your vote.
Aye.
Joe Kosher, your vote.
Aye.
Jesse Medford, your vote.
Aye.
Scott Holmes, aye. Paula, would you like to vote?
I'll pass.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the last one we have seems to be our funnest one. And that's the scheduler. And it's unfortunately, it's the one thing I can't do. I can help, but I just can't do it with my workload. I'm working 80 hours a week as it is during tax season. I just.
Hey, Scott. So, what if we broke up some of those tasks?
Yep.
You know, it's like 12 or 13 schedule. You know, like I think if you broke off like horseshoes, tennis, pickleball, basketball, with that, you know, if you would broke up the job, because people know the sports end of it, but horseshoes, pickleball, and tennis is something different. I'm just wondering if you split up, if you could make it a little easier for some people to take on that role.
Well,
You know?
we can do that by all means. I you know,
Just a thought. That's
you
all.
feel if it's too much for one person, then we can break this into, say, 3 groups. You know, we can break it into 3 things. You know.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. That makes sense, Joe.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's take a look at what we got. Baseball is again the most time consuming because of AAU. Soccer's pretty easy because it's just women's soccer in Freetown Lakeville. And you said we got horseshoes, we got tennis, pickleball,
Volleyball.
volleyball.
Yeah, I figure something like that. Actually,
And I'm going to throw basketball in there because that's only once a year.
Yep.
You know.
So what if Scott? What if we did baseball as one?
Yep.
And then like the kind of I would say like on-site things like volleyball, pickleball, horseshoes, and basketball as one.
Yep. That's what I got.
And then, I mean, I don't know about soccer. That's an easy one, like you said, but
Yep. And then we got we got the practice fields, we got lacrosse, we got soccer and the women in that. And that's about it.
The only other one is AJFC.
All right, football.
yeah.
But that's yeah.
So Joe, you're doing a lot of you're doing all of the softball schedules now. Would you be able to use your same templates and stuff to do, say, baseball? Would that?
Yeah, the only thing I don't know, the only thing that concerns me as my dad is you might get an awful lot of phone calls. I travel a lot now with the COVID, so I might not be around if they call me for something like that there. But you know what I'm saying? That was my only concern with that one there. It seems to be a lot of phone calls with baseball, bringing out school, this and that. I don't know if I'd be around. You know.
Well, I'll tell you, if it's scheduled well,
Right.
like Justin did a very good job of scheduling.
Right.
There's a heck of a lot less phone calls
Is
when
it?
people know when they have the field and when they don't have the field. We used to get all
Right.
kinds of calls where there'd be a team down there playing, and another team would come down saying, "Hey, we have this rented for this time."
Right.
And that hasn't happened so bad with Justin.
I mean, I can take a shot at that. Heck.
And what we have, Joe, is and we can reinstitute these. We haven't done it in a couple of years, but we have field pass cards. And what we can do is we can write the name of the organization, and we can write down what day they have practice. We can laminate it and give it to the coach.
Oh, I'll take a shot at it.
You know, and like I said, Joe, I mean, I'm around. It's just I don't have the extra time to put into it. You know.
Yeah, I know. I'll take a shot at it.
And I think the only thing you'd be dealing with once you get it situated is if there's a rain day. You know, and if you're away, then someone else picks up the phone and deals with it. That's all.
All right.
All right.
That would be AAU and Little League.
Yeah, and it's pretty much Field 1 and Field 4. Little League uses
Okay, so that would
2,
also
3.
it would also include the men's softball league.
Right, and they play Sunday mornings from 8 to 1.
Okay, right.
I've already got them penciled in. So I've got a schedule. Like for this spring going. And who's got practice time and what time the men are playing and what time we only got one other AAU team. And we've got the Samurais practicing down on Field 4. And the only conflict with Field 4 is Babe Ruth. And Babe Ruth used to play Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But Jackson informed me it's just going to be Friday nights.
All right.
So,
We can go through the details later. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll work with you on that one. Sure.
yeah. I mean, I've been able to handle it now. I mean, it's not, well, I shouldn't say that the 15th of July is like April 15th right now. Okay, so, all right, we'll try that with baseball with Joe. And then we've got soccer, football, and lacrosse.
I'll take it.
And we'll try that with Paula.
Mhm.
Okay, and then we've got horseshoes, tennis courts, pickleball, basketball, and volleyball. That's not on this list, Nellie. Volleyball.
What is it?
Volleyball.
Really?
No, it's not on this list.
What did you say? It's not what?
No, that's okay. So the last group is what did I just say?
Pickleball.
Volleyball,
Horseshoes.
pickleball, and hockey.
Horseshoes,
Tennis.
Pickleball.
tennis / pickleball, basketball courts, and volleyball.
All right,
With
I don't mind
volleyball
doing
only-
those.
What's that?
Unless Jesse wants to do it, but I don't mind doing those because I'm down there anyway. But what do you think, Jesse? You want to take some scheduling?
You want to split them up and 2 take 2 and 2 take the other?
Yeah, that's
That'll
fine too.
work.
You take pickleball.
Yeah.
No, I'm only kidding. Well, I'll tell you, Horseshoes calls me all the time anyway. He called me already this afternoon.
All right. So Mike's got horseshoes.
Mike has got your horseshoes, okay.
Then we got tennis and pickleball, volleyball, and basketball courts.
I'm thinking of volleyball and basketball.
Okay.
Who said that? Jesse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those the easiest?
Yeah.
All right, I guess that leaves pickleball to me.
Well, I'll work with you on that, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you stand alone.
Yeah.
I thought you already had that one with that letter.
You like that, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about that in a little bit.
All right. So Nellie, we've got Jesse's gonna oversee volleyball and basketball. Mike's got the tennis courts and horseshoes. Joe's gonna go with baseball. I'll help him out. Paul is gonna go soccer, the practice fields, and football.
I thought, and did you mention lacrosse?
Yeah, yes, and lacrosse. Which there's only
And they
there's
all-
only one group that practices, so that's minor.
Okay, and what did you say about the fields?
Well, we have some extra fields, like there's a field down across from the beachhead that we allow people to practice on. That's about the only other thing.
Oh, that's where they walk the dogs?
Yeah, down there, the big field.
John Pond?
No.
No,
No,
Ted
Ted
Williams.
Williams.
at Ted Williams. I guess I'm not sure.
That's all right.
But
I'll
that's all
show
right.
you. We'll go for a
All
ride.
right.
Okay, good,
Okay.
good. All right, Nellie, if you could, for us, seeing how we have a bunch of different people stepping into some shoes here, if you could identify for us who has what they're supposed to have as we add in the COVID plan, the insurance binders, the contracts, and of course, their money.
Yes.
I know you have a spreadsheet from last year. Maybe if you could expand upon it, you could just keep one big spreadsheet and just group them,
Yep.
accordingly, so that people can pick off what they want. That way we don't have to break up a different spreadsheet. It's easy to deal with at the meetings to have one spreadsheet. But yet you could, segregate baseball and then put Paul is 4 and then Mike's 2 and Jesse's 2. And of course I'm available to help anybody at any time. But okay, so that's good. That's our reorganization.
Yep.
Great. That was a task that went smoother than I thought. All right, so we're going to move along here with the rest of this meeting. If no one has any objections to it, it is 9 o'clock. Okay, short, sweet, and brief. Any new correspondence, Nellie?
The only
Nothing
thing
heard,
I got was, but I think you got the same thing, Scott. We got a new applicant for the maintenance position at Ted Williams Camp. She reached out to me personally as well.
Oh, the girl did.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to expand upon that. I apologize. Clorinda sent me an email today and said that one of the boys that applied for the highway couldn't get hired because he had enough people. And I said to her, I thought there was a girl that applied before. I'd like to reach out to her first. She did apply. Owen can't do it. He's supposedly leaving for grad school August 1st. I don't know where he's going to grad school, but he says he's leaving August 1st. So my feeling, unless the board has any objections to it, would be to reach out to this girl and see, oh, look at that, Lakeville Women's Blue Ball. Woo! Money. I'm sorry. Reach out to her. She did apply straight to us and see if she'd be interested. So if you have the information, I can give her a call, Nellie, unless the board wants to go a different direction.
Can I elaborate on that, Scott?
Yep.
I was talking to Maureen earlier.
Yep.
And asking about, what our budget looked like as far as bringing on this other person. And she told me that position is budgeted for 18 hours a week. And because of the COVID-19, if we need to have her work more than that, the town will pay for it.
Okay.
Under COVID-19 relief.
Okay. Well, because my goal is to have her fill that spot left by
Linda.
and work that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6 hours a day, and keep the bathrooms as clean as possible, and then have John Miranda clean them and close them.
Yeah, I have an update on that when we get to that too then, but I think we should definitely bring her on.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see if, so we could offer her 18, maybe more. Maybe during the week,
Right.
um,
And that goes for Bobby Beach too. But I spoke to him a couple of times. He's not real crazy about the idea of cleaning bathrooms.
no, I know it.
I think he's okay with his 18 hours.
Yeah. He's already working a full-time job, so this is kind of extra for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he could do too much more, but
Okay.
that would be nice to know if we could. And if we can't bring this girl on, maybe we can bring on another kid. We could bring on the other kid.
We don't have another position budgeted. That's the only thing.
Well, under the COVID,
Yeah.
we probably
But
just
you can
expand
go-
her payroll.
You can go over
Okay.
to a certain extent,
Okay.
and the COVID funds will pay for it. So it won't come
Okay.
out of our budget.
All right. Well, we can talk to her and see if she wants the 18, and then we could possibly give her more.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Great. Nellie, if you could just give me your contact again.
I forwarded it to you.
All right. Great. Any new correspondence? All right. I'm going to go real quick here. I was informed by a parent that there's supposedly someone advertising to run a soccer clinic in August. I found the website and it says soccer clinic, $175 a person for the week at Ted Williams Camp. So I sent the person an email, and I think you all got the email that I sent, and they responded back to me, "Oh, we don't know where it's going to be." And I responded to them, "Well, you put Ted Williams Camp. I would think you'd ask someone first before you put their name down." So I haven't heard back from them, but that's supposed to happen like the first week of August. Second thing is, in
Excuse
passing,
me, excuse me, Scott.
Yeah.
The first week of August, can they just take a field without asking you?
no,
All right.
there's too many hoops they have to jump through to run a camp.
Yeah.
They have to go to Board of Health, because there's a lot of things you have to do before COVID. There's a lot of things you
Yep.
have to do to run a camp. Okay.
Mhm.
And now with the COVID-19
Yeah.
requests, it's even more so. And
Right.
they have to come up to our Board of Health snuff. We have to see the plan beforehand, before we even say yes, and give it to town, give it to Board of Health. That's what we're going to do, because I don't know who these people are. I'm
Yeah.
not just going to say, yeah, sure, go ahead. You can't do that.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Well,
Is
they thought they
How
could.
okay. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Okay.
Now, see, on the other hand, Rich Medeiros from the football, our Pop Warner football organization, was down at the camp and asked John Miranda how he gets in touch with us to ask about having a football non-contact clinic, which is the right way,
Mhm.
So I told John, I said, here's Nellie's email, have him email Nellie, and she can put it on our agenda, or we can ask him to come to the meeting and tell him that he has to go to the Board of Health and make sure he jumps through all their hoops. Because I'm not going to okay anything without the Board of Health saying, okay.
Yeah.
So he's got to come up with a COVID plan, and he's got to come up with the Board of Health's summertime camp plan. They have their own things that have to be done. So, but this guy is trying to reach out to us first, which is the right thing. And he was approximately the same time frame, first couple of weeks in August.
Mhm.
So
Along
Nellie,
the same- along those same lines.
Yep.
A fellow reached out to me today and asked if he apparently he has a gym. He's back open, but it's only like 40% capacity, and wanted to know if he could come down to the park and do some speed drills. And I said, well, how many people, and is it like is it a camp? And he said, no, it just would be coming down and, just doing some sprints. I said, well, it's like 4 or 5 people, park's open. And he
Right.
said, well, when that got to be, he said, well, I spoke to these other people that are running their businesses on the fields. And I asked them, one of which is Brendan from BFit. They're over there almost every day.
Yeah, there's people there every day doing
once
soccer
again-
clinics.
Yeah, once again, we need to reach out to them and find out what, nobody. And the other one is Sarah. Remember Sarah?
Yeah, she's back. Yeah.
She was there today too.
Yeah.
So these folks need to come to us. They can't just be holding clinics and camps without.
They're making money.
Yeah. Now, Derek Loud told me from Freetown Lakeville Soccer Club told me that Sarah did ask them and told Freetown Lakeville that she had already checked with us and we said it was okay. So they have to be, both of those people have to be talked to. Both Brendan and this Sarah. I think, do we still have their contact information, Nellie?
We should have it somewhere.
What was the case? They checked in with us back in 2019, right? But
Yeah.
for them
2019 or 2018.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, I definitely still have Sarah's email.
Okay. Would you send that to me and I'll contact her again?
And we specifically told her that if she was going to continue to do this, she needed to come back to the board.
That's correct. So.
And I thought Brendan was going to make a donation. I don't know whatever happened to that.
Well,
I would have to double check on that.
I think
Yeah.
they did. It was like $125, and they were going to use that back field, but I don't know how much you used it. That was again though, like Jesse said, that was last year.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right. Yeah, it's not a one-time carte blanche thing here. It's
Yeah.
every season.
Yeah. And speaking of soccer, I just got an email. I had spoken to Derek earlier, as I just said. He just sent me an email. He's at the South Coast Soccer League meeting.
Yep.
And they have just voted not to have a fall season.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Because Derek thought they were going to.
Yeah, but he says he'll let us know what they decide to do as far as a fall rec league. They're going to see if it's going to be feasible to do something like that. But soccer is considered a contact sport.
Yep.
So I think the most they could do is like drills, right?
Right now, that's all they can do.
Yeah.
So does that mean I schedule drills?
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know, Paula, if we hear anything further. I'll give your information to Derek Loud. He's the president of the Freetown Lakeville Soccer Club.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll make sure
Okay.
I'll make sure I let him know that you're handling the scheduling now.
Okay.
Any
Sorry.
other new business? Anybody?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, the new business, I had only an idea, and I'm just going to mention it at this time. I know that we have some fall events, and I was suggesting or looking into, I should say, hot air balloon during a fall event, and if I can come up with someone that will do this, would you like to hear about it? And is it something that you think we could make money at? I think, well, we would have to know costs and what events it could apply to, so it would tie in with something else in the fall. But I was thinking of something like that as an extra kick for our budget.
And something like that would be awesome. Don't they usually have one once a year at the fall festival?
Well, the Lions Club
Lions
had it
Club,
one
yeah.
year. And this, just to mention is when they do these, they can do them like, I think 15 minutes, which is expensive, and they can do tether where they just go up and come down. But the real question, I have seen a lot have not done it because of COVID, but there's other hot air balloon advertisements that haven't said they're closed because of COVID. I thought I'd just look into it and get back to you guys and let you know that it's a possibility.
Yeah, along with that, you have a couple food trucks there. You make a little money through SEM getting that.
Yeah, and there's some fall event that you have, right? I'm not sure. It's a big. Do you have a festival, or do you have something in the some weekend in the fall or something?
We don't necessarily, but Saturdays are a big day down there. You got soccer
Yeah.
and you got football and you got baseball and somebody's probably playing volleyball and horseshoes is going. And I mean, Saturdays are a busy day. There'd be a lot of people around. You just have to advertise it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first I'm going to see if there's a way it can be done that's affordable and that we can make money. And by the way, a question is, if that was something that had a possibility, what fields, you know those back fields, the two that you showed me, are those going to be used in the fall also? On the weekends?
The new
The
field?
new ones, yes. Yes.
No,
Not this year.
not this year.
Because they're pretty big. And,
Right. The
you
only
know,
downside with that is you're not near the rest of the camp and people aren't going to see what you're doing.
they'll see the balloon. They'll
Yeah.
be running down there.
No, I understand, you know.
But is
I-
there another
just
space
it's
for
just,
it?
you know, I mean, you know,
Is
if
there
you
another
want to look
space?
into the pricing, like I
Yep.
think I said to you, I mean, as long as we don't have to put out any money and it's maybe a commission-based thing where we get a piece of the
Yeah.
pie,
Yeah.
you know, and like Jesse said, you know, we get a food truck out there where we don't have to put up any money. We're not taking
Yep.
any chance. You know, all these
Mhm.
people are already there. I mean, it can't hurt for you to investigate the costs and get back to the board.
Will do.
Need
Okay.
4 months to plan a festival too, though, at least. So might
Right,
be
because, you know, the end of
realistic
October.
for 2021.
Yep. I mean, if you did it this fall, you know, the end of September, beginning of October would be a great time.
Yeah, I was thinking October with fall foliage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to investigate what the cost would be in the parameters,
Mhm.
I don't think anybody on the board would have an objection if you get back to us with the details.
Okay. I'll look into it.
Okay, great. Next thing up, we're gonna pass on this. We're gonna pass on the minutes. We're not gonna bother with that tonight. We got other things to do. Oh, I'm sorry.
Wasn't there a deadline for that?
There is.
There
There is.
is.
I'm only kidding. All right. First one is June 10th, I believe. Am I right, Nellie?
Hold on, I'm getting them up right now.
Yeah,
That's
me too.
right. That's right. June 10th,
Yes,
2019.
that is correct.
June 10th of 19. Does anybody have any comments or changes?
Nope.
Nope.
I had one, yeah, on page 7, I did have one under correspondence regarding the basketball tournament. This basketball tournament was held last year, but it says the commission would like the representative from the basketball tournament to attend the meeting after a date is booked with SEM. Did they go through SEM?
Yes,
Okay.
because they rent the tent and
They
they
rented
set
the
up catering.
Okay, perfect. That was the only thing I had a question about on those.
Okay.
Anybody
Guess
else?
we need a motion to accept them.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from that June 19th?
10th.
10.
June 10th.
Second?
Second, all those in favor? Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
Aye.
Jesse Medford.
Aye.
Paula, you can't vote. You weren't here. And I for
I
myself.
was going to say I abstain.
Yeah,
Right.
you weren't here, so you can't. And so that's
Right.
unanimous. All right, quickly. The next one is July 8th, I believe. July 8th of 19.
Mhm.
Yes.
Does
I just
anybody?
I had a question on the thing with TriFest, right in the first page here. I talked about Mr. Walter inquired if the ice machine is working at this time. Chairman Holmes stated the ice machine has been removed from the building due to the not working. Is that gone?
Yep,
Okay.
it's been gone.
Toss it?
It was junk. It was costing too much. Every time we turned around, it was breaking down.
Didn't Bill get rid of it?
Yep.
For
Bill get rid
us?
of it.
Yeah.
It was costing us $300 to $400 a pop, and then it would run for 2 months, and then it would break down again.
Okay. All right, then on page 4, under Ted Williams Camp updates, those, I had mentioned that there was a motorized boat going in.
Yes.
And I questioned if there was any regulation for the boats on the pond. And specific regulation for boats were not known. Do we ever find out if boats with motors are allowed in Loon Pond?
I put an electric trolling motor in there.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mike.
All right, that's something from last year that I probably should, I should probably follow up on, huh?
I don't know who would ask.
Yeah. Yeah, really, who to ask, right?
Maybe environmental officer Bill Gray. He lives in town.
Okay. And I think that was the only questions I had. Oh, I know, I take it back, Nellie, I do have page 7. First paragraph there, 3 lines up, it says the Old Colony Group will be sending an invoice for the transportation and for the work done. It's you should change that to Old Colony Regional Vocational Technical High School Group.
Yes.
Okay, or even in Old Colony Votech, so in future generations, when your notes are read, they won't know what Old Colony Group is. Got it?
Yes.
All right, that's all I had.
I make a motion, we accept those minutes on July 8th, 2019 as amended. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? None being heard. All those in favor? Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
Aye.
Jesse Medford,
Aye.
Scott Holmes, aye, and Paula, you must abstain. Okay,
Right.
819.
819.
I got 2 little quick ones there, Nellie. Page 5, 6th line down. It says, also suggested using a patrician to block the storage. Must mean partition. And,
Yeah,
and,
that too.
and then on page 6, down the bottom, it says items from the clerk. It says desk surplus to the LPL. A list was compiled of all extra future within town hall should be furniture. Like 6th line up from the bottom. The list was compiled of all
Future.
extra furniture. That's all I had.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes from August 19, 2019 as amended.
Second. Okay, all those in favor? Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
Aye.
Jesse Medford. Jesse,
Aye.
thank you. Scott Holmes, aye. Paula, unfortunately, you have to abstain. All right, September 9th, 19.
I just had a question. I know I wasn't there at the meeting, but you talked about the Boy Scout Eagle Project. Did they ever follow up on that one?
No.
Not that I know of. I was reading that one too, and I was wondering about that.
Yeah. all right.
No, I don't think he came back.
That was at Dickren Square, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that. I had to read it a second time because I'm like, we had a Boy Scout project wanted to come in there?
Yeah, sounds like a good one.
No, yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes from September 9th, 2019 as is.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
I can't vote. Wasn't there.
correct. Jesse Medford,
Aye.
Scott Holmes, aye. Paula, you weren't there. October 7th, 19. Anybody have any questions with October 7th? Nobody.
Wait a minute,
Okay.
hang on a second. Under JPP updates on page 4, the last, under JP, the last line there says, Chairman Holmes will reach out to the building commissioner for assistance in securing the storage area, which should not be accessed. What is that? Is that under the building or is that in the shed?
It's under the building there.
Under the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
I locked that out.
Good.
And then on the next page, page 5, regarding the well drilling,
Mhm.
it says an additional invoice was received recently and reviewed. Commissioner Nolan stated the pump did need to be increased and additional items needed. Can you just add the word pump capacity did need to be increased?
Okay, yeah.
All right, thank you. Make a motion, we accept the minutes from October 7th, 2019 as amended.
Second.
All those in favor? Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
Aye.
Jesse Medford,
Aye.
Scott Holmes, aye. Unfortunately, Paula, you can't vote. Okay,
Abstain.
December 16th.
I got nothing.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes of December 16th, 2019 as is. Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
Aye.
Jesse Medford,
Aye.
Scott Holmes, aye. Paula, you must abstain. Okay, so Nellie, are we good for the minutes?
I just got a
For
quick,
this meeting, yes.
I just got a quick one. For future minutes, Nellie, would it
Yes.
be possible to change the format somewhat? Because could we add at the end of each minutes a list of action items? To Mike's
Yes.
point earlier, so that the next meeting, we can always go back and say, hey, what are our action items?
Yes.
Because we seem to lose track of them if we don't have them spelled out. I just didn't know if we could add a section, just a bullet list of action items from that meeting. So
Right.
then the next meeting we talk about it, and we'll keep that going until we close them all.
Right. Like
See if that's,
Scott calling the building inspector about the building. Yes, I
there
agree.
you go.
I agree 100%. No, it does. It does.
Yeah.
If I mean, I'm too busy running the meeting. I don't always make notes, and
No, that's
I'll
what
be
I'm
the
saying.
first to admit I lose things.
But is that something you want posted with the minutes?
It'd be part of the
I
minutes.
think that's minutes.
It would be a part and be posted?
Well,
Yeah.
I think you could.
It should
If
be
you
in
could
the
just-
agenda from the following, for the next meeting. You know, open action items.
Yes. Yeah. For
Yeah.
the next minute.
Because we don't
for the
always
next
see the
meeting.
minutes, Joe. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a good point. I just didn't know how because at the next meeting, there are some things we probably should be talking about that we put on the table for the last meeting, but we don't get to them. We don't do that. So I just didn't know how we want to do it, but I think it would be nice to have an action item list from
Absolutely.
minutes, somehow.
Like old business on the next meeting, I would think.
Yeah, so maybe if you want to format something, Nellie, and just see
Okay,
what we think. But I think it just so we can highlight it that way, so it might be a way to get the agenda for the next meeting type thing.
okay.
Okay. Moving on as fast as I can. Loon Pond Lodge SEM updates.
Okay. Can you, Nellie, send me an updated what the rental rates are for the lodge?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I know it's changed recently. And I wasn't sure what it was. Car show.
A minute, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay.
The car show, did that fella ever get back to us to follow up? That was supposed to be in July. I think it was supposed to be last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Well, I just actually saw it on the calendar. Where was it?
Yeah, I think that's what I saw too.
Like
It
the 12th or
wasn't
something.
it wasn't technically canceled or anything, so I don't think it just moved.
But he never
forward.
even filled out a contract or anything, right? He came to
I
talk
don't
to
think
us
he
one time.
did.
Okay, all right. All right, I know that things like that are not happening right now, but I just didn't know if we were following up. Okay, so, Paul, on this, you're gonna be involved in this, but SCM has been in touch with me a lot, and Scott a lot, about when they can open up. I spoke with both Maureen and Ed Cullen today, Scott, regarding what the town was going to go with, and they're basically going strictly with the governor's recommendations. So right now, for the foreseeable future in phase 3, they're indoors, 25 people, that's it.
Yep.
Yep.
No bar. You can have tables with bar service, but you can't have a bar. You know, a bar where you walk up to the bar and get a drink.
So what are you having then?
You have people do table service, waiters and waitresses,
Oh, okay.
and no dance floor, no
And what?
DJs, no dance floor, no
And what?
dance.
Oh, no dance floor.
Yeah.
What
So
if they put on helmets?
No,
Sorry?
no, but so you can serve alcohol.
you can, yes, you can serve alcohol. You just can't have a bar.
Okay. Well, that's news because last time I talked to Maureen, that wasn't the guy.
Well, that's what I got from talking to her, and she said, well, you figured if they can't have a bar, it doesn't make any sense to talk about it. And I said, I don't think that's what it is. I believe it's, you just can't have a bar. You can't have people coming up to the bar.
Right, and bellying up to the bar. And
Yeah, what were you asking, Paul? I'm sorry.
No, no, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah,
you got to be 6 feet away.
yeah. And then outdoors, you can have up to 100 people. It's got to be an open-sided tent. It can't be enclosed at all. And the tables have to be kept 6 feet apart from each other. And if we were to do something like that, like out in the front where we normally put the tent, we would have to either figure a way to open up those 2 single bathrooms out there or get porta potties. There's been a lot of people asking about, bathrooms down there and stuff. I was kind of thinking, I've talked to Ed about this today. His concern with the bathrooms, like in the maintenance building, is that where there's multiple stalls and multiple urinals and such, there'd be too many people in the bathroom at one time. We would have to have someone monitoring it. So I asked him, I said, well, what about the bathrooms across from the lodge where they're singles? And he agreed that if we could keep them clean, once or twice a day, that would suffice. That would work with him, and it would really be a lot cleaner than porta potties. So I don't know. I was going to look into that. I talked to John Miranda this afternoon. He's offered to help. If we hire this new person, they could do it. I just wanted to run it by the board and see what they felt. I'm just, the whole porta potty thing just doesn't work in my brain.
no, I agree, Mike, but we can only open it when we can have someone there to clean them.
Right. So John said he would help, and if we're hiring a new person, we can
Yep.
put them on it. But if we have a function, Scott, if we had a function outside of 100 people, we could have our person clean them before and after.
Right. Right. Clean them beforehand and then maybe clean them in the middle and then clean them again at the end,
Which is going to be 100 times cleaner in my mind than a nasty porta potty.
Oh, I agree 100%.
I asked him what the whole idea with porta potties is, and he explained to me it's not a question of dirty surfaces and stuff like that. It's a question of breathing other people's air. In a porta potty, inherently, you can only have one person in there at a time. That's what they're more concerned about. They're more concerned that there's only one person rather than the fact that it's a porta potty.
I get you.
So he also said, also on that, he said, he asked about what was going on with the porta potties down there. And I told him what you had worked out or, suggested to like pickleball and volleyball and not volleyball, horseshoes. And I don't know, I told him we suggested that they lock them up. They clean them before and after and they lock them up. And he said, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
So,
especially if they're paying for them.
right, exactly. That's another thing is we may be able to get a couple of porta potties down there just, for general use and that get paid for with COVID funds
COVID
on
money.
that too. Yeah. So if you want, I'll look into that further.
Yeah, maybe we put something out there in the corner of the soccer baseball out there outside of the bathrooms,
Yeah.
out there in the corner. If we can't open, and I understand why we can't. Now I understand why we can't open up that bathroom. It's not so much cleaning it; it's that multiple people would be going into
Right.
it. Okay, now that makes sense. I couldn't understand why they were suggesting the porta potties over a bathroom.
Right.
But what if you had masks on in there? You can't go in there with the mask if it's 3 people?
Nope.
I mean,
Nope.
You get-
One person, we have to have a monitor allowing one person in at a time.
this makes no sense, but it is what
My
it is.
concern right now is, they're kind of slamming us into Facebook groups right now for not having any porta johns for the baseball teams. I was under the impression, teams are supposed to provide their own now, like pickleball and horseshoes are doing. But so we got all these people out there at a baseball game right now. They claim they're doing everything right with COVID, social distancing and everything, but they haven't signed any new contract with all that stuff in there, so they don't even know what the rules are. They haven't seen it, and they have no facilities. So we're kind of getting slammed for that right now.
Well, hold
Well,
on a
they can
minute.
come join the
I thought
board.
Baseball filled out all their stuff, didn't they?
With the new COVID rules on the contract that was just going around last week, I thought only horseshoes got that contract.
That was for tournaments.
That was only for a tournament, Jesse.
Okay, so they did get one before then?
The regular one that, what was it called?
They don't have the COVID phase 3 rules.
Attestation. That was it.
I'm wondering, do they even know what the new rules are? Because we've never had a baseball meeting like we usually do annually.
Well, I think Nellie, you sent them all the information, right?
I sent them the original
Attestations and the
information.
rules and there's a checklist that goes with that, Jesse. They
Well, I
should
don't
have
know.
all-
It has changed like since our last meeting when they came out with the new phase 3 rules.
But as far as cleaning the bathrooms, it's pretty much been the same.
Well, I don't mean just for bathrooms. I just mean for in general sports field use and everything.
Well, that's why they couldn't start until July 6th. They
Yeah,
couldn't
they got
start
a
till
control
phase 3.
plan and attestation. That covers everybody.
So should we be sending out an updated letter to everyone?
I mean, I think so because I don't know that they've read the new phase 3 regulations.
I
They
sent
did
it out to
because
all my groups.
they didn't start playing until July 6th. That's the phase 3 regulation.
Oh, so
I
that's
mean,
what
that's- They were just told they can play. They weren't told by what conditions.
Well, they had to give us they had to follow protocol, and they had to give us a COVID plan on what they were going to do. That hasn't changed.
I mean,
That was based on the
So
phase
this,
3 recommendation that they could only have a couple people in the dugouts. They had to have hand sanitizers. They had to have, everybody had to have their own waters. They had to clean the gear. No sharing of gloves and anything. I mean, that was all precluded to phase 3 opening.
Well, Jesse, what are you responding to? Is somebody had a specific complaint?
well, it just started off as, there's no bathrooms.
Yeah, that I saw.
Right. And, a few responses just pointing fingers at us that we should be providing them bathrooms.
Oh, well.
But yeah, I mean, I like the way it was done for the tournament. Making them sign that these were the new rules, and I didn't know anybody had been signing anything prior to the 6th, but
They all had to
changed on
give
the
us a
6th.
plan, Jesse.
Yeah.
They all had to provide us with a COVID plan.
Now, do their plans adhere to the July 6th new rules? That's the question.
Well, the baseball ones did because that's what they were precluding to, the phase 3 opening. That's what their plan was centered around.
All right.
But
Whether the
Scott,
individual people, whether the individual people are following the rules, they're not, because the rules also state that when you go to a child's game, you're going to have one adult that goes with them, not 4, not grandma, grandpa, and the little sister. There's supposed to be one spectator. I'm down there watching 4 people walk in with little Johnny, so they're not following the rules.
I think I read somewhere if it's a adult league too, that no spectators allowed.
0. Correct.
That's right. Anybody over 18.
Correct. Adult league is 0 spectators.
I wonder if there was no spectators down at Blooper Ball tonight.
I don't know.
There's usually not too many spectators there.
Yeah.
No, not too many spectators there, but that will be sent to the president.
So I think,
I also think,
go ahead. I'm sorry, Paula.
Jeff. I also think there is some regulation there with logging in terms of enough people. People that attend a function, whether it be church or baseball or anything else, has to register. In other words, name and address and phone number.
Contact
In the
tracing.
event,
Yep.
in the event that some of them, somebody gets test positive, they've got to track all the people that were there.
Yep.
I think that is one of the regulations. And I don't
It
know
is.
if all the teams are doing that or not.
I didn't hear that from Ed anything about that. I know that the restaurants and stuff are doing it, but
Well,
for outdoors, I don't believe.
I think other events are doing it, and I think it applies to any public type of event. But
we were
I'm,
going to have to
you
do
know,
it if we opened Clear Pond. We were going to have a name and a phone number of everybody that went into the place.
right, so that's no different from an event on a baseball field or soccer field or whatever.
Well, we'll
We're not
find
re-
out for sure.
We're not requiring that at all right now. And I
You
just,
know,
We're
I
not.
didn't see anywhere.
We're not, but they're supposed to.
we don't, the function,
Well,
how do I put it? The event has to register everybody, okay? And I think if you check with your Board of Health, they may have that regulation written somewhere, and that may be something that your teams
Was that one of the
maybe
that was on the
required to
tournament
do.
requirements? I
on the
think-
tournament one, yes, it was.
Yeah,
Yep.
they
Yeah.
needed to do that.
It doesn't matter whether it's a tournament or
I know, I'm just
fiddly
using that
league.
one as a precedent. I think we should be using that
Yeah.
field.
well, we were going to have to do it at Clear Pond.
Yeah,
You know, so it's, again, I know we talked about it, Clement. I never saw it as the requirement we had to do that. Because it just, the logistics, that doesn't make sense to me. So we didn't
What?
have anywhere in our agreements with anybody that they gave us a roster, but they didn't have to log in anybody and all that because they said it just wasn't a requirement. And I never saw it anywhere.
I think it's a regulation as part of the COVID mandate, and
I think we
think
need to
that the
read up
Board of
on
Health-
this.
I think the Board of Health will clarify that for you, okay? What's the guy's name? Ed? Yeah.
Ed
I
Cullen.
bet if you ask him.
And collecting the names would be something that who's ever in charge of that team would do.
Right. It's
Us.
it's up to the team, whoever they are, the event sponsor, to have a log registering the people that are attending in terms of name, address, phone number. If somebody becomes positive, they need to track everybody down. Okay?
It'll be easy. They'll have all their players' names on the roster, and they'll add whoever came to see them too. It's
Right,
not a big
yeah,
ask.
Well, it
exactly.
is good for spectators. We need clarification, because I'm not asking any teams to, hey, go out in the stands and people in the parking lot, get their names and write it down. That's certainly something that we're not going to do, that I know
Oh,
of.
no,
Any
no,
requirement to do that.
no.
So
No.
let's get clarification on that.
It was definitely in the phase 3 verbiage, which I compiled
See?
for the tournament on all the items that are needed for its level at this point. At the beginning, when horseshoes and pickleball was all starting off, the only 2 things we needed was the attestation and the compliance, the control plan and the attestation. That was it.
That's,
Along with
I
their
think
own
that phase
COVID
3
plan.
list that you made for the tournaments is the best, because you compiled that after July 6th when this
Right.
new phase 3 rules started. And I think that all teams should have to sign for that, not just tournaments.
Exactly.
Because that more specified what we needed them to do. But before that, when fields were opening and everybody just wanted a space, all Board of Health and Town Hall told us was that compliance, the control plan and the attestation, that was it.
Well, somebody should, we should clarify that with the Board of Health. I thought at first, Jesse, you were saying we had to go down there and
No.
check everyone in, and I'm like, we don't have the manpower to do that. If it's their own responsibility, that makes perfect sense to me.
Well,
It is.
FYI, I just opened up the documentation that we got the tournament information from, and it says competitions and tournaments. Competition meaning,
Yeah,
Games.
just that, any type of a game, not just
They've
not
had
drills.
games this weekend.
we took it because they were having a tournament, and I found that in this document that it talked about tournaments, but what I jumped over was the first line that said competitions and tournaments. And
But I think competitions might be like a swimming event. It doesn't mean games.
no,
I
I'm
don't
going to read
believe
it to you. I'm going to read it to you, Joe.
All
And
right.
you can take it for what you want. For the purpose of these guidelines, a competition is defined as multiple participants or 2 teams competing against one another in a single contest. A competition includes inter-team games, matches, shows, meets, and races. And then it goes on to talk about a tournament.
It's a scrimmage, a game, a tournament.
So, I mean, our responsibility on this would simply be to send each
Correct.
leagues a notice telling them it's their responsibility to do that.
I think we need to take the tournament information that Nellie typed up, and we need to send that to everybody.
Do we need to specify the fact that it is just for competitions and tournaments, that if you're only doing drills?
I don't think I think drills are included because it applies to the people involved in an event. Think about it. Anybody that carries a positive to an event, whether it's a drill or whether it's a tournament, they need that information for tracking.
A drill turns into a scrimmage real quick.
And it
That's what
doesn't
you-
matter whether it's a scrimmage, it doesn't matter. They need to register. I don't know how many times I can say this. And I think that you need to clarify it with the Board of Health, but you'll find that they need to have names and addresses. It's not our responsibility, but it is the responsibility of the coach or the person in charge of the event.
Yeah, I agree.
So the
Okay, so
roster-
why don't we just do that? Why don't we just send out a notice to all the leagues? Nellie, you have all the contact information, right? Telling them that it's their responsibility to keep this contact list.
Isn't that the roster?
But it also talks about people in the stands.
Yeah,
Right.
I know, but if I walk down to a ball game and I have no kids playing there, I'm not gonna give my name to anybody. So the only responsibility they have is for their players, right? I mean, you're gonna run into that, Mike. You know that. I mean,
The people involved in the competition, I
that's what I'm
believe
saying.
it's referenced.
So I think a roster would suffice, wouldn't it? And teams have those already.
Yeah, that'd
If
be
they
a
have their
judgment
name,
call.
address, and phone number.
We're arguing
If they
about
have their
semantics
name,
here.
address,
Excuse me.
and phone number, and if they're at that event. If you have a roster, you can have anybody's name on it, everybody's name on it. That doesn't mean they're there at the event. What if I
We're
get
just
sick
gonna
and I
give them
didn't
the
go?
rules and they're gonna do with it what they.
Yeah, all we do is put it out there and let them follow up on it.
Well,
We can't be managing
What we're
that.
doing is, what we're doing is covering ourselves, so we're not liable. We
There's no
notified them, there's nothing more we can do.
You never can find if you can never just say, I contacted at that event. That's impossible to determine. So it doesn't mean anything, but I understand where you're coming from.
For time purposes, can we
Yeah.
just say that, do we want to review this with Board of Health first? And I'll compile, and then if we have a, let's move, we move forward?
So moved.
Good job, Nellie.
Thank you, Nellie.
Time is running out, guys.
Tell me about it.
Second,
All right. Well, we just did sports update with the phase 3, so we're gonna move on.
We have a motion on the table there, Scott, in a second.
All those in favor? Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
I
Jesse Medford,
aye.
Paula Hool.
Aye.
So moved.
I don't think there's been so many motions in one meeting before.
I've never said it so many times in my life. Clear Pond Park update. Joe Kasha, nothing to report. Move
Nope.
on to the next thing.
well, first of all, you missed one. You talked
Wait a
about
minute.
we talked about pickleball. That's a issue.
And
we gotta talk about.
horseshoes.
I got all kinds of Ted Williams stuff too. I mean,
Oh, Scott, nice
There we go,
try.
Scotty.
we're right in it. We can table it all, and that's fine.
No,
No,
I think we need to talk about that one.
we
I
need
just
to
do
talk
stuff,
about
and
that
I'll
one.
tell you.
We need to talk about that one, so we're gonna move to Ted Williams camp updates.
Okay.
Sports updates.
Scott, you would ask me about the trimming going on down there.
The what?
Wait, the DPW was down there and trimmed up the trees at the going through towards the volleyball.
Yep.
The plan is that they were starting there. They're going to trim up behind the lodge, by the entrances, behind the playground area, and also the exit. You know where the exit is getting all over ground going over there.
Yep, it is.
All right, and then in the fall, when things slow down, they're going to start working on the trails. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Nothing else. I'm sorry. Oh, I did have a question about the budget on Ted Williams Camp, but you and I talked about that earlier. It was just whether we, because we're going to have some bills. We're going to have to do some fertilizing and
That's
planting
in the
more
budget.
grass, but we have plenty of time to talk about that.
That's in the budget.
Right. Okay. That was it.
Okay, so we've got the horseshoe tournament, didn't happen. And then we've
Um,
got,
Wait a
No,
minute.
no, they have 2 more dates they want.
I know, I'm talking about the one that we were rushing
Oh,
and
yeah.
turned around in less than 24 hours. You got information to them, okay? That tournament didn't happen. That was this weekend. I know they've got other ones. They need to ask permission and they need to understand there's a fee.
Okay, they've already filled out the contracts and, you all right?
No, I got a cramp. I've been sitting here too long.
They called me. They called me today. Did you see the email from Deb Michaud? Okay. They did fill out all the information. They're looking to deliver it to us, and I told them if you were going to be down there tomorrow, just to put it in the maintenance building office, and I would grab it from there, and I'll get that to you, Nellie, from there. Okay.
Okay, I had responded back to her because she had mentioned, oh, I can fit it under the door to the office, and I said that was
they
fine.
couldn't. No, they couldn't.
No,
No, they tried. There's
Okay.
weather seal.
weather stripping, yeah.
So the question is, do we have a problem with these tournaments?
No, they can run a tournament.
Yeah,
They just have to adhere to that document that we sent out last week.
okay.
That's,
And
I just forwarded you all. I didn't know if you had it from before, but I forwarded the document from Maureen and Ed Cullen about phase 3, step 1. I just sent it all to you. So that's where you could read that part about the tournaments and the competitions and what's what. And it's a little confusing. They talk about step 1, step 2, low risk, medium risk, high risk. That's fun.
okay, so what should we let them know? If should they let them know that they can go ahead and start advertising? One of them is their state tournament, which is actually a smaller one, believe it or not.
We just need to check with the schedule, Nellie, and see if there's anything going on with SEM
Everything's canceled.
through August.
We have one open birthday party that's still floating around. Everything else
That's right.
All the weddings have been rescheduled.
Yep. I
Okay.
think the wedding coming up is Labor Day weekend, and they're on a hold as to what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, talking to Ed Cullen today, it doesn't sound like much is going to be changing between now and September. So
When do they expect to move into step 2? Because there's a step 2 of phase 3.
I didn't know there was steps when it came to functions and stuff.
Well, I'm just saying phase 3 has more than one step.
Okay.
Because we're in step 1.
Okay.
I haven't seen step 2. I don't know what's part of it.
Yeah.
It did say that phase 3 would be a lot longer than phase 2 was, so it could be a while before they even get the next.
Phase 4 is not going to happen until there's some type of a vaccine, I don't think.
Well, he said there was either a vaccine or a rapid decrease, like a 50% decrease in the in cases for an extended period of time. So we're still getting cases. It was 197 cases today.
Yep.
Anyway, so I'll get those applications or the contracts from Horseshoes and get them to Nellie as soon as possible. But they're looking to advertise. So what is it okay to tell them that it's okay to advertise as long as they're going to follow all the rules?
If SEM has nothing going on, which sounds like they have nothing going on, and I'm talking a big wedding. I mean, if they have a birthday
there's
party, we
nothing.
can still have the Horseshoes. So that I don't see why they can't go on.
Okay.
Does anybody else have a problem with that?
No, they got everything together that they needed to for this other
Yep.
tournament that didn't happen. So
Okay.
I'm sure they can do it again.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Next is pickleball.
Do we want to get into this? Did everybody get the letter I sent?
Yep, got it, read it.
I printed it. I don't have it with me now, of course.
It was a nice job, Mike, with it.
Okay. Anybody got any additions or corrections or subtractions or?
My point is, what's the next step? What are we gonna do?
Well,
Send them this.
I guess I need to call them since I just picked them up as a job, and tell them that we're gonna repaint that third court and put the second court back to a dual use. I did speak to a guy today who does seal coating and line painting. But he didn't really do tennis courts, but he was going to go down and take a look at it for us anyway. We need to fill in the rest of those cracks that they did halfway. And we need to paint Find somebody that knows how to do that.
Can we stop them immediately from using the courts? They've violated it many times, the agreement. They owe us money. They've refused. They've been inconsistent. They've not told us the truth. Yet they still go day in and day out with pickleball. Can we stop them and lock them out until they come to us to get things done? I mean, this is a year old and we're still playing with it, and they don't care, it seems like.
Right, well,
So,
that's why I put
mean,
the letter together. I personally, I don't really feel like I want to go down there and lock the gates up on them. I'd like to try to work it out first. We just haven't addressed it. And I don't know how much they're even aware of how upset we are about this. But they need to be contacted first.
Right, they were told last year.
Tell them-
mhm.
I
They were
know.
told last year that what they did was wrong. And we asked them when they were going to pay them back, and they said, oh, it cost too much money, but yet they could pay them again.
Okay,
Can I
so,
ask a question?
yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
ask you a question? Mike,
Yep.
do we have a contract
Yep.
for pickle, any of these? We do?
Do we, Nellie?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay. Does it say in the contract how many courts they're using? Number
Yes.
one.
it says courts 2 and 3.
Okay. They have breached the contract, right?
Correct.
They're making us pay, or it is expected that we should pay for the paint and the labor to correct what they've breached in the contract? How is that fair?
It's not.
It's not fair, but nobody has addressed it at this point, so that's why I am addressing it now and starting
Well,
off this way.
We addressed it last
Can
year.
we-
We invited them to a meeting and told them they were wrong and asked them when they were going to repaint it, and they point blank said they weren't. Last
And
year.
it hasn't been done. So can we ask them in the discussion, in this conversation? First, I guess we have to point out that they breached the contract. And second, could we resolve this by having them repaint that third court? Would that be too
Well,
much?
that would be my first request to them. But I have to reach out. We have to reach out and make contact with them first. So,
Okay.
I think we did it verbally once, and now this is just in the writing, and hopefully the writing part takes care of it.
right, and yeah, I'm hoping to speak to them verbally as well. Paula just made me think of this. Nellie, would you send me the contract?
Sure.
Send this, okay. I mean, I don't want to go and be confrontational to, the majority of the folks there are senior citizens, and
Yeah.
I don't want to, nobody wants to be mean, but it's an untenable situation, as you can read, from my,
But this Mr. Hall, is it, that puts this
Yes.
group together?
yes.
Is he being fair in the fact that he's got 40 people on the field when he signed up for 15? And do you think that he's making money at this and we're not?
I don't know.
I mean, how can you have 40 people and they're not paying?
Well, they're paying them.
They're paying him, but is he paying us? The answer is no, right? So, I think he's the person we need to address, right?
Right. Did you get the letter that I sent around?
I commented back to you in 1, 2,
Oh,
and 3.
yeah.
what
Okay, yes, you did. Yeah,
was
you did. Yeah. So, yeah, that's I guess that's my next step is to contact him. And I mean, if anybody else has a better idea.
Mike, one of the lines on the bottom of the letter, you said that the park commission will not be forced to resurface and paint the courts ourselves. Why was that? Why can't we have them, or they do not come back? Because they knew what they were doing, and they did it, and they didn't care.
And that's what I'm looking for is feedback from you guys. So I'll take that out. We'll give them a specific time frame to get it done, or we lock it up.
How about 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think that's a little,
How about we need their plan by our next meeting? Doesn't have to be done, but their plan, their guarantee that they're gonna do it and how they're gonna do it, when they're gonna do it.
I like that idea.
that's fair.
Okay.
Or you can give them the option of coming to our meeting and explaining to us what they plan to do, right?
I think we just need to see their plan.
I'd like
In
to see them come to a
person,
meeting.
or are
though,
you
too.
saying by a letter, or they're coming to the board oh, we don't have any meetings, that's
No,
right, we're on Zoom.
They're not coming to the board meeting. We don't have one.
Email, letter, email's probably the easiest.
Well, that's why I did this, is because it's time to act on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you've done a fine job here, Mike. Thank you for the
I'll
start.
let you know how I make out.
Okay. Any other general updates? Clip on Park. Any updates?
I got an old business thing. The basketball rims, can we have them put those up?
No. Contact sport. Can't play football, can't play lacrosse, can't play basketball. I don't know what to tell you. That's the governor's rules. That's not ours.
Wondering how people are getting around it, though. I was down in Fall River today, and the DPW was putting the rims back up. And Boston is supposed to be behind us when all this opening up. And I see all of the playgrounds in Boston, they're playing basketball. Some of them are as crowded as when we had to shut these down. I don't know how they're getting around it. It doesn't.
If you look at that high risk, in that letter that came around, level 1, they're allowed level 1 for that's basketball. It says individual or socially distanced group activities. No contact workouts or rubber conditioning, individual work, skill work in drills. But does that mean that they're allowed to shoot around?
Yeah, but they weren't
Joe,
doing that.
Joe, they don't do that. They go and have full-fledged games, even though we put up signs and tell them they can't.
But where's our responsibility end? And
Well, we weren't really doing much about it, and then we were contacted by the Board of Health and the selectmen to take down the nets. We were gonna go to war with the Board of Health?
no, it doesn't matter to me either way. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, like your point, other towns are getting around it. What is Lakeville doing? The other towns aren't.
I don't know
That's-
how they're doing it. I guess it's a question. I don't know how they're doing it.
Illegally.
No.
Are the kids just running on the court, forming their own groups, or is it organized?
No, it's not organized.
So
Not
the
just
kids
kids
maybe
either.
just, kids, adults, whatever, maybe they're just using the courts regardless of what the rules are. Because if it's not a team, right? It like pickup, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Paula, the courts have been closed the whole time with locks and chains, and they're jumping the fence.
Yeah. So it's not a legal thing that they're doing. That's what he's looking at. He's saying, how are they getting away with it?
Right, that's why.
Because they're jumping the fence, as you said. Because
Well, the
nobody's open.
The answer
right?
is no for now, anyway.
We have had correspondence about this, asking about basketball hoops, because it does mention it in phase 3. That, like Joe was reading, that they're open, and this person did state that all courts in Brockton are open. They're not locked.
In phase 3.
That right now, all courts in
Yeah.
Brockton are open.
So is Joe talking about now, or was it a month ago that he saw people on basketball courts?
No, that's me, and that was recently.
Oh, it was
The
recently.
rims were taken down. But I think why courts are open in other cities and towns is because they're allowed to shoot a basketball, but they're not allowed to play games. And we
Correct.
saw them just turn it into, 20 people on this court, or more than that, just
30.
playing games. They weren't just shooting a basketball.
And we zip tied the nets, and they cut the zip ties, and then I got reprimanded by Board of Health and Town Hall. So the minute we put them up, they're going to go play games. I'm not going to get reprimanded again. Because it says individual skill workouts and drills. So you're telling me they're going to go, one person's going to play on a basketball hoop?
All I'm saying is, you've got a big area, you can have 25 people in an area, as long as they're socially distanced. Not saying it's gonna happen, obviously, but doesn't have to be one.
You can
But
stand
move on.
around 6 feet apart and do chest passes, bounce passes.
Let's just move on this one. We're not gonna, the rims are down, they're down. I mean, let's move on.
Okay.
Did we do Clip On Park and John Pond Park?
Not yet.
Clip On Park,
Nothing to report.
John Pond Park.
But the only question I have on Clear Pond, the grass on the beach is getting awfully high. You really want to wait until next year and do it then, or should we do it now? Have it rototilled so it doesn't get out of hand. You usually do it once a year anyway. It's getting high.
Yeah. It should be done because next year it'll just be
It was.
as difficult or expensive to take care of. So
What did Highway go in and mow?
just
Uh,
they didn't do the beach
parking lot,
itself.
yeah.
Parking lot and what?
Go ahead, Jesse, I'm sorry.
So they did the brush and they didn't do the beach itself where the grass is starting to grow pretty high.
Yeah. They mowed all around the buildings and all that stuff in the parking lot. So I can, I'm trying to think of, Scott, what's the fellow's name that does that with a rototiller? Richard Standish. Richard Standish. He's done it in the past for a volunteer basis. I don't know if he's willing to come in and not being open without charging, but I don't really have a contact.
I don't have the contact. Darrell was the one that contacted him.
Yeah. He lives, I know where he lives and I know where he works. He works at Wood Pallet, not Wood Palace, Wood
Yeah, he used to
Ventures.
be. Yeah,
Mid Cape Lumber now. Yeah. But he's a guy we've used in the past. He's got a regular tractor with a rototiller on it.
Yep. I mean, I guess we could, but I mean, he didn't rototill the areas where the grass is. He rototilled the beach.
Yeah, that's what these
Yeah,
guys are
that's
talking
what I'm
about.
I know, but where the grass is growing on the edge of the beach, he didn't rototill.
It's not, it's the whole beach. It's not just on the edge. I mean, looks like grass is going all,
Is it? Okay, I haven't.
I mean,
Yeah,
Jesse,
the
you've probably
sand
been
is
down
like
there.
soil now.
Yeah, no, it should be done. Probably should be done more than once during the season because with no one walking on it, it's just going to start growing again.
Let's see if I can get you some information on that guy, Jesse.
I mean, if we got to
Sounds
pay
good.
something, we're going to have to pay something. Any other old business to review?
Well, I got John Pond yet. I'll be quick. I'll be real quick, Scott.
Quick.
John
Blue
Palm
ball.
Park.
Blue ball started this week. Women and men's. I got a schedule. I'm using Google Calendar. I can send that to you, Nelly. I was gonna print it out, laminate it on that, and put it down there on the wall. I spoke to everybody so far. They're pretty good. I'll get you all the paperwork. I got one check they gave to Scotty. The women are only doing 5 weeks out of a usual 15-week season.
Don't
Put that up there, Scotty.
put that out there.
The women are paying 1/3 the price because they're only doing 5 weeks. The co-ed's doing the 15 weeks. They're paying full price, $20 per person. So I'll have that. I got booklets together, all the information from them. I'll get a copy and send it to you. I'll get it to you, Nelly. And you got one check there that Scott's waving. I'll have another one from Derek tomorrow for the co-eds.
Great.
We're not opening the bathroom. The Blue Ball did not want a bathroom down there, so they're going without a bathroom. The only porta potty there is for mass drifters, and they're paying for it themselves.
Okay.
I got it for them, and they paid us for it. So other than that, we're all set.
Great.
Are we supposed to get a bill for that?
What's that?
Are we getting a bill for that one?
Probably will, but it was in the price that they're paying us per month for the porta potty.
Yeah, I
But
just need to put it in for encumbrances.
Yeah, it'd be $115 a month, but that was charged to the drifters for 3 months.
Have we already got a check from them for that?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got the money in, so we
Yep.
should encumber the.
Yep.
Okay, any other old business? Are you done?
One thing. I called Plymouth County Mosquito Control today. And I asked them to do all 3 parks. And they said that they would. The lady had to call me back. Apparently it was just done 2 weeks ago. Did anybody know that? All the parks were done just 2 weeks ago. So, but they'll do it again.
Good.
Great. Good news. Any other old business? Any items from the clerk?
So many items.
You get one.
I'm kidding. Nothing really big to report. I'm trying to work with IT on extending that Wi-Fi at the lodge over to the office. We're kind of looking into a plan. Nothing's solidified just of yet. That's all I've got. Oh, and if anybody has a bill that's outstanding, let me know. Encumbrances are Friday.
Yeah, this is stuff that was before June 30th.
Right.
Okay. Any other business for the commission to act upon?
I have
None
a
being heard.
question.
What?
I have a question. When do I have to start signing paychecks? When does that begin?
When Nelly
Um,
asks you.
Hold on.
Oh, when Nellie asked me? Okay.
Yes. And what is it? It will be next Monday.
Okay. Let's see if I'm working or not.
Yeah, we can
You're only
correspond
there-
before that.
Pardon me?
We can correspond before that. And even if it's something where I leave it at the office and you come in
Okay.
and you just sign it when you are available and I'll pick it up the next day, that's fine.
You'll
We're
be
still
in
doing
there
it
Monday.
electronically.
We can still do it electronically.
No, I'm available Monday, so you're in the office at what time?
Oh, I'm not sure.
10, 11?
I'll
Okay.
email you, Paula.
No problem, then I'll run over. Okay.
Excellent. Sounds good.
All
Yeah, I
right.
won't be around next week, just to let you know.
Hey, Nellie, why did you send me this thing for Sarah St. Dawn?
You wanted her contact information.
No,
Different,
Sarah, the soccer coach,
different Sarah.
What's Sarah, soccer coach?
the one that was charging people to use our fields.
Which one is that one?
Even about a year ago, we spoke to the board. Remember?
We brought her in,
All right.
slapped her
I'll look.
hand.
I'll look. Sorry, I thought that was her.
No,
Oh, okay.
that's softball girl.
Sorry.
No problem.
I'll look it up.
I won't be around next week. FYI.
Who's me? Is it Scott?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Next meeting, Scott?
27th. 6:30. Is that okay with everybody?
Sounds good to me.
30. It's my birthday. Oh, that's great.
Happy birthday.
You can sing to me next week. All right.
Woohoo!
The 27th at 6:30. Okay. That's a Monday. Okay.
Come on, Scotty, call it.
No, let's see, what else can we do?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? No.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Mike Nolan,
Aye.
Joe Kasha,
All right.
Jesse Medford,
Aye.
Paula Hool,
Aye.
unanimous. The meeting is agended at 10:24.
Jeez Louise.